for everybody who wasn't here last time or the previous time. Last adventure, the party found the Witch Guardian of the Flower Sea's ruined tower up north of north of the swamplands, north of where we've explored so far, and found this person who we've interacted with. I think everybody except Irenaeus was involved with that, so maybe the rest of the party can enlighten her on how that went.
I'm sure I talked to people as they came back, but...
Oh, yeah, definitely. And at current time, we are back at the temple, which now has its own obelisk. Irenaeus is also here. And it is the 4th day of half week when the Redshift finally shreds apart and frees you from the miasma in the early morning. So we are 2 days out from the new year, and you guys have a few days to get done what you want to get done. Now I know Montlarin and Naya and Nimbus, you guys did some soft planning last time. We also have, I believe it was like 6 days or 7 days of downtime to cover, so we can handle all that downtime coverage now, and that'll include everybody else who's here. But we're just going to assume everybody is currently in this low-staffed temple obelisk. You all obviously can communicate with Orvis or anywhere else that has an obelisk whenever you like, with the power of the communicator device built in. I will leave it up to you guys to kind of decide what's going on amongst yourselves.
It seems like we should do what we can to head up to the Flower Sea and grab the key for the vault.
Agreed.
We already kind of talked to the leadership about where to send scouts to look for the other two. And obviously not in this outing, but in our next few outings, I think we should probably try to track down those locations and figure out what we need to do to access them. Though I'm wondering if they will similarly be locked with a sort of odd key of their own that you need to get through, as this book apparently is.
And just as a reminder, the Brigadier has said that she'll notify the various teams in the appropriate locations to keep an eye out for the things that you've described for her. So they may find these things if they are looking for them in the right spots. One other thing that you know is going on with the commission at the moment is that Dex and Nami have been working on the fort on the coastline to get it all set up as another obelisk point, and ideally one where you all will be able to launch out some boats into the sea. Other than that, things continue as normal, aside from the fact that there is a general be careful going north and east protocol regarding the two dragon princelings that we've encountered.
Yeah, there's a war on.
Well, we'll hopefully have scouts on the way to help us figure out exactly what their range is and where their sort of headquarters are.
Most assuredly. The more information we can get without tipping them off, the better.
Indeed. That's why they're some of the finest scouts you'll find in a place like this, because they won't look like people at all. It won't look like anything but random wild beasts in the distance.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So, this is supposed to be like scouting headquarters, right?
Where you are right now is, it is currently the northernmost base of the commission. It's the breathing temple, which does talk, although infrequently. The personality of the temple appears to be some man who is often very sleepy. So far, you've deduced that this is probably due to the destitute state of the building.
Yeah.
And in the time since you first discovered it, the commission has kind of, at the very least, like repaired the stairs up to the top half, boarded up some of the holes in the walls and in the floors, and kind of started to make a viable home for themselves over here. If not for a lot of people, at the very least, it's safe, it's secure, it's not quite warm in the winter, but warmer than it was, and this is ongoing. And currently, it's just you all here for now, plus a handful of other expeditionists that you know who have come up here and mostly are stationed as frontline guards or the people who are actually doing the work to improve this place and set up a few more structures so that people can use this as an outpost.
Yeah, on that actual note, though it might be amusing to think Alvis Taver is doing that kind of work, he's kind of, his idea or his plan is to sort of map the local area, maybe 150 feet of this surrounding area while he's here on the downtime, and maybe communicate and suggest the ideas of hidden earthworks, things like brambles of bushes and other things like that, just so when the red tide is down, people can keep constant watches or maybe even set up traps or holes or other things like that. Not necessarily to defend ourselves well in a siege, but more as to make sure that this place could have a good stock of that.
I think I get what you're saying. So you're thinking like spend a lot of time on your side, kind of like digging ditches and
Yes.
burying them and that sort of thing.
Yeah, making strategic little hill piles or foxholes. Even suggesting if he could get some fast-growing brambles or something, so he could grow them up the sides or plant them. Not grow them because he's no druid. He can't do that really well.
Mm-hmm.
But so he could plant them amongst the sides of these various different places, maybe the whole of the perimeter itself, so that in enough time that these brambles could grow up, they could, be the basest of basest defenses, not of against the dragon princes, no fucking way, but maybe they're men, maybe they're dogs, anything like that. Like he's thinking small logistics about making.
Yeah, no, that's pretty
Maybe they're
reasonable.
cows.
Right. Plus, you've had that event with the bugs that one time, and definitely having like hills and brambles around the walls is a very useful thing. Yeah, this is absolutely something you can spend your time doing. And just for context, the area around this, you are technically still in the swamplands, but you're pretty far north in them, so it's a little bit drier.
Yeah, if we could even like get a canal getting up here as well, like he might even put some efforts into that specifically, because that is a good defensible thing that encourages growth, which helps with stealth, all of that other good stuff that more capable people than I can actually take boon of.
Yeah, like grab the nearest river and then just like over the next weeks, just eventually dig a channel further north.
Yeah.
Is not entirely unreasonable, and you could probably get started like kind of plotting that out on paper and out in the yard, basically.
Yeah, might as well make my map making skills useful, you know.
Cool. So I'm going to consider that your downtime, and that'll give you. Let's see, what are we on? We are on. 4. So I believe that should get you 4 mental dice for you to spend this session however you like.
Damn, thanks. Sweet.
I would consider that more mental labor than physical labor.
Oh yeah, most assuredly. If he did any physical labor, it would be to encourage and help, in whatever way.
Yeah. Cool. So Ambergreen, what do you think you would be up to in your several days in this small space?
Can we still communicate with this temple?
One thing that did happen when you guys first got back and were basically you and Alvis Taver were at the tower. So you guys came back here with everybody else and reported in on what had happened to the Brigadier and to Dex. During that conversation, the temple actually woke up all of a sudden and commented when somebody had mentioned the name of the Witch Guardian.
Okay, I think I saw that part.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Okay, so he remembered her for some reason,
Right.
and shortly afterward he decided to he ran out of memories and got tired and decided to go back to sleep.
Okay.
It's among the people staying at the temple. Being inside a building that talks to you from all of its bricks at once is a little weird. A couple of the people will like tend to talk in whispers unless they're standing outside. Even though you know at this point that talking at a normal volume doesn't seem to bother this thing, otherwise they don't try very hard to like wake him up or bother him or ask him questions or anything like that.
Gotcha. I want to do everything I can to kind of chronicle what these different gods were that were here, because I got to start on that when we first discovered this place.
So you know it's a pretty basic good pantheon. You figure this site would probably have been used for how about you give me a religion roll real quick, but I'll give you advantage on it because you already know what gods and stuff were here.
Yeah, because we figured that out when we first got here.
Yeah,
because you took your theory of religion class at Bard College.
That's a really nerdy joke for you to make.
It has many layers.
It does. Your real life mom went to Bard College.
I know. She always says, that's a great school. If you ever want to go there, I know people.
It's a baby ivy, is what it is.
Baby ivy. That sounds like the kind of thing you want to get out of your garden before it becomes a problem.
Oh, yeah, nice one. You've got advantage. Roll it again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was a shit roll.
Big oof.
Okay, nice 3. So
yeah, I'm too busy being a Clara bard.
Yeah, so like you you like have an idea of what this temple was for. Like I said, it was like a pretty basic good pantheon of a lot of gods that are still commonly worshipped today. You've seen them. I don't think Ambergreen. Well, do you care about the worship of any other god besides your muse?
No, not really.
Okay,
I just want to I want to come up with like really great rock songs about these guys.
Yeah.
So that somebody remembers them,
So yeah, these are like the info about these gods that you have is like they're it wouldn't be weird to be like walking through kind of a kind of large village and see a temple like this where some subset of these had little shrines all throughout, like a stone temple or like maybe on the side of a road or something.
Okay.
It's the kind of stuff where like you'd expect a town would have somebody. It would be like no sermons. Basically, the place somebody would come to deliver a offering or an individual prayer and then go home.
Right. I get it. Do your puja.
Yeah. So, but that's really all you've got on them right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's really what I'm trying to do. Is I'm turning my creative mind to like.
Remind me. Do you know the name of your goddess yet? Because I know
her actual name.
Because I know you, like in your backstory, you have that you. She's told you her name, but you don't remember it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I would have written it down, and I don't think I have.
Okay, got it. Cool. Good. Good to know.
Yeah, actually, down in my miscellaneous notes, the last thing I have about it is that I dream about her and she speaks, but I can't hear her. But she sounds like she's getting clearer. But
yeah, that was the previous dream you had was her. I think it was her like speaking as though through underwater and through a pillow.
Right.
Okay. So if you spend your time kind of futzing about with the remains of these statues and idols and writing your music, you can also take your mental D4s, 4 of them, for this session.
Okay.
Irenaeus, so you didn't go to the tower. So what have you been up to in the meantime? If you for whatever reason have landed here.
Well, I think
before the prior Redshift.
The last thing I did that I joined on was, I think, the Toad exhibition.
Yeah, that's correct.
Expedition. So after getting back to Orvis from there, just got shipped out up here to help establish the another forward scouting camp, patching up holes, moving stuff around, moving stuff in and out.
Oh yeah, this is easy work for you.
Yeah, it's easy work. It's just being more on the front lines and taking care of some stuff than some of the other camps are at this point. And just hoped that everyone else would land here and could continue adventuring from there.
Yeah, and I think they actually revisited this place once or twice in between those two sessions, your previous session and this one. So you would have been well aware that everybody was like passing through here and getting ready to go join them yourself. So okay, would you like your efforts to be reflected in a set of physical D4s then?
Yes.
Cool.
Totally would have helped me out with like ditch digging.
I don't know about that. It would be more the patching
miserable.
the walls and getting the floors all not level but walkable.
Also
walkable, not quite rotted. A little bit less rotted through. Yeah, and there's definitely still like holes in the ceiling too.
Or
and
going out and felling some trees to turn into scraps of wood or whatever.
Good idea. I see what you're doing. You work inward out. I'll work outward in.
Perfect.
Montlaurent, what have you been up to for the past 7 days?
Mostly helping just get this place in order in any way that I can. I might have even helped Albus Tower dig a ditch.
Cool. Okay. If that's what you want to do, I can give you physical D4s as well.
Sounds good.
Naya, how about you?
She has she has helped out wherever she can. And she has continued to kind of dig around a little bit in kind of a shallow way, looking for any kind of evidence of druidic presence that might predate the temple that was erected here. And she hasn't found anything. But
why don't you give me a perception roll?
Perception roll?
Before you say so, yeah. Give it to me with advantage because you've got plenty of time. Okay, 17. So it's not much, but you're just kind of like getting in Albus Taver's way and like rooting around the temple and while he's digging holes and stuff, and just seeing what you can see. And what you find, like I said, it's not much, but over on the side of the building, where the large tree is currently located, under a layer of dirt that may have built up over the millennia, you do find a druidic term that is more it's more at the level of like a thief sign, sort of like a symbol that means something in particular, not so much words, but something that somebody who knows the language would understand as meaningful. And basically it translates out to a place of safety and a place belonging to an ally.
Place belonging to an ally?
Yeah.
Okay.
So finding that one symbol, I assume Naya would probably look around a little bit more.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if we'd gone in a different direction with this, I would have told you that she's kind of frustrated. But that she found something turns that frustration into excitement and curiosity and some inspiration to keep looking. Did I find anything else?
After that, unfortunately, you aren't able to find anything else on the temple anywhere.
Is it any kind of apparent from what I did find, in terms of the age, that it might predate the structure?
It is carved into the structure of stone, so you think it was probably put there when this temple was still standing.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would have been like carved into a tree or something like that.
Right, or into a stone buried underneath a tree, or
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure. And yeah, if you like that that adventure for yourself can manifest as mental D4s, so you can have 4 of those as well.
Okay, thank you.
Just a reminder for everyone: D4s can be added to any physical roll, any mental roll, depending on which type you have. You can add as many as you want. Got to use them before the end of the session, so keep it in mind. Don't forget. And Nimbus, I know you said the scroll thing last time when we talked about downtime. So I just wanted to go back to that and say that in terms of scroll making, I am going to request that anybody who wants to make scrolls does it on their own time with their own character. So if you guys want to like work together and do money scheming, that's fine. But basically, as far as like having the rest of the commission do it, pretty much everybody else in the commission is busy with their own shit, and so you're not going to be able to pawn off the work on other people. Now, if you would like to arrange it so that you have scroll making materials at the smaller outposts, we can do that.
That works. That's basically what the intent was, is however it works, there's, some way to continue production.
Yeah. If you want, I think it would be pretty reasonable for you to have like a small box that was included with some of the basic tools here, where you can have some of your inks and things, like some cheap parchment and some cheaper inks, but still workable enough to produce some scrolls out of with a little bit of extra talent, I think. And then if you want to produce some things during your 7 days of downtime, that would be reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what I would end up doing then, is just continuing to do that with the downtime. The let's see what the best deal was again here. Bring that up. Probably doing 2 level 3 spells.
Oh, we've got 7 days, so you'd be able to do 1/3 and then like 2 first, or
excuse me, not level 3, 2 level 2 spells.
2 level 2s. Yeah, that would work.
Actually, there's no reason. I'll just do the level 3. And I don't know, like probably spend a couple of days working on other things around the place, trying to help with, like, what's the state of the roof, for example?
Definitely needs some patching up in places.
Okay, well then
they've gotten 1 or 2 spots, like, right above the tents, so it doesn't snow or rain directly on them. But there is absolutely more that could be done.
Okay, well, probably taking breaks in between the work, I was probably going to be making like ice columns and scaffolding and stuff like that they'd be able to have sturdier ground and sturdier backing to at least nail down like
help.
A wood roof across the entire top and be able to move from there. So that, I would imagine, would kind of be interwoven between the work and take up the other 2 days.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Okay then. I also like to imagine Nimbus using his levitation to like get up to the roof and just start hammering.
Oh, definitely. Probably
Right, just
makes it
floating
easier to
there.
bring supplies up.
Bam, bam, drifts away from the wall. Has to float himself back over. Kabam, kabam, drifts away from the wall.
Okay, so for the scroll, we'll do the Arcana check and Persuasion check, and let's see. I believe, I fixed the price point percentages. So now we're rolling 1d5 and 1d3 for the respective items. So those should be good now. And
All right.
yeah, and then as far as the money goes, I'll just give it to you now because you'd be getting it when you get back or whatever. So we're not going to worry about the time
Okay.
too much.
And you said a
1 Arcana, 1 Persuasion.
Arcana and Persuasion.
Oh wow!
Oof.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
gotta get
fine.
those-
I'll get the bad rolls out now.
Yeah. Okay.
We're all apparently rolling bad in the downtime, except Naya.
Go
Well,
ahead.
17 with advantage isn't exactly great.
Oh yeah, the other one was a 4 from Naya. So that's going to be the low roll. So go ahead and roll me a d5. You could just do /1d5.
Yeah.
Or /r 1d5.
It's
And
trying to catch up. Oh, there we go.
Cool. 55 percent of 1,000. So you spend 500 gold, you make 550 gold. So you make 50 gold.
Okay.
Okay. I think we are ready to move on. So, like I said, on the 4th day of half week, the Redshift shreds apart, and you guys are able to set out. Weather is still mild. It's gotten a little bit chillier. We're kind of hitting the 30s on a nightly basis at this point, frosting up the landscape. But I think we know where you guys are going at this point.
Did you just use Fahrenheit with me?
I'm sorry. I haven't used a centigrade thermometer in a while, so
I obviously got what you meant.
you're hitting zeros nightly.
Fucking cold.
Yeah. Pretty, pretty chilly for
Chill.
you normies, I suppose.
Arene is just like, yes.
Oh, it's finally comfortable. I might have to put on arm coverings.
Yeah, Naya would agree with you.
Sleeves.
Okay, let me move you guys over to the world map. Okay, gonna hope it loads.
I'm gonna
Cool.
cover this just in case it oh no.
Oh yeah, big old.
Kind of laggy tonight.
Yeah, and I couldn't even resize my thing before it showed.
Oh,
stuff.
sorry about that.
It's all right.
Big old Roll20. I'll be testing out Fantasy Grounds pretty soon, so we're not going to switch over to it for Redshift, but I'm thinking every game that I run from here on out is most likely going to be in Fantasy Grounds, so I'm thinking it's going to be ready by the time I do my next little one-shot I'm running. So that'll be extremely nice. Okay, so is everybody able to access the world map now?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So up here is the place that you guys were last time. And according to the the witch guardian Arissa, that the Flower Sea is supposedly just a short hike north of her tower. And Nimbus, I believe you had the book key that she gave to you, whose instructions she told you would become quite obvious when you got there. So I think, as far as you guys are concerned, you have everything you need. If anybody wants to change prepared spells or anything like that, now would be the time to do it before you leave.
Long rest as well?
Yeah. Long rest if you haven't. Everybody would get one of those. And you guys can also feel free to re-up to your usual 3 rations for everyone. And then we're good. We're good to go as soon as you guys are. So I'm going to ask whoever wants to move the token, go ahead and move your token. And whoever makes the token movements, feel free to hit the encounter check button. Let's do it. Let's do it. 3 people decide to hit the encounter check button, and we'll see what you get for the day.
Just to clarify, that X on the map, is that where we encountered the dragon arrow?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay. So we're avoiding there.
That's why the last time they went around.
Yeah, the suggestion from the brigadier has been try not to get spotted, and she'll keep the presence of the commission kind of relegated to solo scouts and people who can move quickly over in that direction, so as not to attract attention.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're headed north, eh?
Sounds good to me.
So who's rolling for encounters?
I rolled
There's
1.
6 of you here. All right, Nimbus rolled 1. A 14 is uneventful, so you guys have made it 2 here now. Assuming you're going straight north.
I rolled.
Cool. 13 is also uneventful. Your first day out in the zone has had nothing happen so far. You're able to make your way through the last of the swamplands and up into the plains that eventually give way to a forest.
Are we still doing the 3 encounter checks, or are we moving slower because it's a swamp?
I think with the usual like horse mounts that you guys have with Nimbus, you guys are moving at regular speed here.
Gotcha. All right.
Realistically, there's too many of us for that to actually be worthwhile. It's probably just the water walk, and
okay.
I would imagine we could get our lizard pals to at least get us this far, and then we'd just kind of come back for later.
To the edge of the swamp.
They're smart enough that you could like command them to like go back home, basically, once you got there.
Yeah.
Because they don't do too well on hard ground.
Right.
They are creatures which need wetlands. Okay, very good. And yeah, it is going to be, if you guys are moving 4 hexes, it's going to be 1 for the afternoon, or 1 for noon, 1 for afternoon, and 1 for while you're camping.
All right. So check.
Oh, a 20.
Oh boy.
Fortunately for you, Irenaeus, while you are keeping watch in the night, nothing happens.
Good.
You guys are kind of getting into a forest that is it is a thick forest, but not a dark forest. If that makes sense.
Right.
And you're easily able to find yourselves a clearing and camp up for the night.
Dense with like a lot of low brush, but there's still a lot of room between the trees and the branches. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
That's good. It means we're at least, like camouflage.
Rocky and deciduous.
I used to watch that cartoon.
This isn't our first time through this area either, so we might see some spots we recognize.
Correct. Yeah, you half of you came through here actually all of you except Irenaeus came through here just last week. So you're probably taking a very similar path to what you previously did. Cool. Would anybody like to do anything before or immediately after having camp, or are we good to go to day 2?
At this point, I think we're far enough away from the danger zone that I can do a little bit of building of ice chunks and scouting from on high with Badath.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, and we would have you uncover the hexes around you while you do that. So, if that's how you're going to spend your evening, that can be done. And I'm imagining that like Nimbus is shouting down instructions to Alvis Taver, who's got
definitely
pen and paper in hand. So you're able to just get a few convenient spaces. You don't see anything of interest in those locations, but you do note that the terrain sort of syncs up with what you expect. The forest continues east and west, and there's a narrow band of grasslands before it gives way to the swamp that you've been working your way through.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. Everybody take a ration, and then we'll move on to day 2.
All right.
Now, are you planning to stop at the tower again?
Yeah. Because we didn't ask what sort of things to expect there, if there's like Redshift twisted automatons that we might be facing or something
Fair
of the
enough.
sort.
Okay. So then please go right ahead. Since you guys are going to a safe location, and that'll be your 4th hex, I'll just have us roll twice for this part. So you guys can move right along. We'll roll once in the noon and once in the afternoon.
All right, different people roll.
Yeah. Cool.
Right.
Alvis Taver. Thank you. Alvis Taver. Oh, okay, great. So Alvis Taver, over here, I'm going to ask you to roll your D12 and D8, please.
My D12 and my D8?
Yeah, hit the encounter button.
Bam.
All right, roll
Rolling
20.
dice.
Tell me what he got.
It's
thinking.
rolling the dice.
Do you have the digital
Still
one?
thinking about it.
Okay.
We got a 9.
Okay. Alvis Taver, you are the first of the party. Do you walk ahead or behind?
I kind of walk in like the middle underneath one of the bigger partners, probably like Montlair and Shield.
Okay, so from your vantage point, below another person, and sort of able to look like from the bottom up, beneath the trees, you are the first to spot a small flock of crimson birds. There are several of them.
Do they look tasty or raptorious?
They are small and flying. Kind of like not really seasonal.
How far away are they?
Oh, they are meters away from your party, and there's maybe like 12 of them.
Do they look
That's
like
enough.
scouts?
They look like birds.
They look like songbirds, basically.
Is their behavior that of songbirds? They usually hang out in trees, and they don't fly around.
Yeah. No, these are these birds are kind of they are not really flying in a pattern, but they are sort of flitting through the trees, and eventually two of them come toward the party, and Alvis Taver, one of them, like buzzes by your ear, and
I cast sleep at them.
okay. Let's see. What's the radius of that? Within 20 feet?
90 feet. Oh, range is 90 feet. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you target like one of them, this would probably hit all of them. So 20 hit points. There's about 12 of these birds. Every single bird in this pack kind of like wavers, slowly descends to the ground, and just falls asleep.
Wow.
Wow.
What are these? These any kind of bird you know about, Naya? This area look weird to you, or are they just good eats?
In general, I would say the only thing I've been concerned about is scouting parties. We are now in that kind of territory of having to be very wary. Do I need to make a perception roll about these birds?
Do any of
You
them
could
look
make a
shifted?
nature check to see if they're like a type that you recognize or anything.
All right. Now, what did you say? Somebody else was talking.
I wanted to ask real quick if any of them look shifted at all.
Yeah, maybe an Arcana check or a Detect Magic check from one of the folks who can do that. I only dabble in the game.
Well, it wouldn't be Detect Magic. It would be part of their
Yeah.
You
Unless it was like something internal, you'd be able to just see. You'd be able to just like see if it was shifted. But no, they're actually not.
Okay.
Perception check.
Give me a nature one if you want to
right.
identify them.
Maybe like signs of a.
Oh, very good.
That nature check will do it.
This is also just kind of looking at them, seeing if they're particularly bony or if they looked like they'd have a decent amount of food on.
Yeah,
hey, I'm gonna take some of the prime plumage off of them after Naya's done looking at them, and
Naya, as far as you can tell, they are a small gaggle of completely ordinary cardinals.
Okay.
Would you? So you can like shake them awake from sleep. So would you be interested in doing this?
I think I would probably pick up one.
Yeah.
And just kind of check it out, look up close, kind of like breathe on it, but gently, and just kind of see what it does. I do have speak to animals ready.
Okay.
But I don't know if I want to use it yet.
Right. I'm going to consider you like poking and prodding this bird to be shaking it awake.
All right.
From sleep. And when it wakes up in your hand, it does not fly away immediately. It hops up. It looks around for a second, reassesses its position, and when it realizes it's held in your hand, it like hops up onto your thumb, and
at that point, I'm going to speak with animals.
these are
Okay. So
I mean, that's an awful lot like Ruby.
as you're casting that, it is so like right before you cast that, it like tugs on your sleeve.
Yeah, that's too much like Ruby. I'm going to talk to it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it does take freaking. Wait, how long does it take?
If you want to cast it as a ritual, it takes 10 minutes. Otherwise, an action.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just do it as an
It would
action.
just use a spell slot if you.
Yeah, it will use a spell slot if you cast it normally.
All right, let me just a second.
So I shouldn't be making miniature buffalo wings out of these.
That
Not
is
yet.
correct. All right, I used it as an action
Okay.
to
Okay.
talk to it.
they're also
and-
just really small if they're sitting on Naya's thumb.
That's
know.
right. I mean, they're really tiny.
I mean,
I'm
she is a
more
big
interest-
girl too.
I'm more interested in the plumage. You know, we could give them to our
Beautiful.
tailor.
Well, that kind of plumage is kind of remarkable. We have not seen a crimson coat of anything on anything, on any critter. Well, the closest we saw was the death bugs.
Yeah. That's
But
exactly
I mean,
why
this
wanted to adorn some kind of
is
badge or hat.
really kind of unusual in terms of what we've seen locally. So, sir,
what do you say to this
what's
bird?
my conversation? Hello, how are you? Are you okay?
The bird says, I am unharmed. But what of my flock? Are they unharmed?
They are, I believe they're just sleeping for the moment, but you were close by, so I thought to check with you and see if you are okay, and if you could talk to us.
Oh, very well. That's good news. Yes, well, my flock and I saw you and your flock walking through these woods, and we thought that we would request some light assistance.
What kind of assistance do you need?
Perhaps it would be best if we showed you. It's very difficult for us individually to fix the problem that we found, and can we wake up my companions?
Okay, so Naya looks around at her companions and says,
Yeah, so you're watching a dragon like tweet at a bird who is tweeting back.
It's always weird when she does this alive on
I mean, it's going to be weird. So, in the meantime, she turns to her companions and says, "So the flock could use some help. Are we in on that or not?"
Albus Tabber sighs and says, I mean, now that you've personified the little thing, I guess we can help it.
I guess we can help some birds. That's not a problem. It's probably not something too major.
Well, let's hope.
What kinds of problems do birds have?
I kind of have to agree at this point. All right, so they want us to wake up the whole flock. So can everybody very gently pick up one of the birds and gently shake it and wake it up?
Pretty sure the one who made it go to sleep can just make them wake up. Is that how it works?
I don't know.
No,
no
it's actually not concentration, so it would last a minute otherwise, or you can like shake them awake.
Okay, probably would.
The conversation's been going for
Gently wiggle them
enough to.
Yeah. They're probably just starting to like rouse up by now anyway. So they all rouse, and Naya, the one on your finger,
Becky won't smash.
turns hops 180 and like spreads its wings a little bit and says, companions, you're awake. I found help. We were right about them. This one says they will help.
Okay. Show us the way, what we need to do.
Also, just a general description of what we need to do would be nice as well.
Does Naya convey that before the
Wait,
bird?
say that again?
A general description of what we are doing and helping with would be.
It seems to be difficult for the bird to explain it. It wants to show us.
Well, I mean, it is
Okay.
a bird.
I
It
can
has a
try.
very
Let me
the
see if
size
I
of a
can.
nut.
Let me see if I can get more info. Can you explain? So to the bird, she says, "Can you explain what it is you need us to do, or what you want to accomplish?"
It says something very important has been damaged, and we can't fix it.
What makes you think I can fix it?
Is it one of those
Usually,
birds?
Say again.
usually when something like this is damaged, creatures larger than us are able to fix it.
I see. All
And
right.
it does the equivalent of a firm nod and then says, follow us then. And
All right.
all of the birds flit up and whirl around your party and set off a little ways north.
All right.
Increase the noise.
So Naya turns to her group and says, "They said that creatures bigger than them are generally have been able to fix whatever the problem is. It's bigger than they can do. So that's all I could get out of it."
Understandable. Sounds like something that we
Well, I
can
have no idea
accomplish.
what we're walking into, so just heads up.
Right. No wonder what this means.
Broken eggs.
Okay, so you follow these birds. They're cooperative enough that they don't go far enough ahead of you for you to lose them. So you guys scurry through the brush, and eventually you come upon a clearing where there is a similar to a cairn.
Okay.
But not really one. More of a monument built in a similar way.
Okay.
And several of the birds land on part of this stone slash fountain slash
Offering place. Yeah.
seat shaped thing, where a large like pillar stone has very clearly fallen over into the dirt.
Okay.
And they are chirping angrily at this. It's been over 10 minutes, so your speak with animals has gone out by now. But you don't need to speak
They
with
need
them
us to write the temple thing.
Well, we're assuming.
Well,
Sure looks that way to me.
Yeah. Can I tell anything about like this offering plate or the stone itself? Like, what does it look like?
I mean,
Give me
is
a religion roll.
Hey,
Serb, is
I'll
it really
assist you with that, Albus Tower.
is it really obvious that the pillar thing fell
You should roll
over
the
and it
athletics.
kind of broken the purpose of the place?
So in order, Amber Green, you're not sure what this thing was for. But Naya, basically, imagine like a like I said, like stacked stones, like a cairn,
Right.
but it's arranged in a very particular layout where it does sort of form a like seat shape or maybe bowl shape sort of thing, and there appears to be there appears to be some like source of water coming from inside it, a very like gentle spring from the top of this maybe 5 foot tall stone cairn that trickles down the sides of the whole thing, and on either side would be a single like stone pillar standing upright, but the left one
Would it have acted as a drip fountain that fed into the bowl at the bottom? What I'm trying to imagine is how, if we write it, how do we write it correctly? Otherwise, I need to spend 10 minutes doing talk with animals.
That's rolls, Montlarin. So basically, what you're seeing is like I'm gonna draw it on the map right here. You've got like the middle bit, you've got like the bottom bit, and these are all like stacked stones. You've got one pillar on this side, and then you've got one pillar on this side that is clearly fallen over.
Oh, so.
Oh, okay. So it's a side thing, not a main thing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Is the one on the ground broken in any way?
It doesn't look like
did
it.
Did it just fall over? Okay.
It's a big, sturdy piece of stone. So
is there any evidence it was pushed over or anything like that?
You can make a investigation check. Oh, nice crit.
Oh, nice crit, Albus Taver.
Between the two of you, you think, let me see. Albus Taver, you are about to say no. And then just in the crack between where it has fallen over and the center of the structure, you find a small red scale.
A what? A small red scale?
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
Maliciously brought down by the so-called owners of these lands. So not only are they warmongers, but they are religious persecutors as well.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I'll keep this scale as evidence. We need to bring this
All right.
up.
So is there a way,
to the authorities.
It looks fairly straightforward, to raise the left side and bring it back into alignment with the other side? Is there a way to reinforce it? Stabilize it?
Crowbar, but we should reinforce it.
You could probably do something like maybe
pile up some rocks on the outside.
Pile up rocks. I was going to say maybe like tie a rope around it or something. But either one of those seems like they would work. Maybe sticks probably wouldn't last very long.
No, we need to have stones, I think. All right. Yeah. Well, if you guys want to lift it up, I'll go get some stones, and we'll see if
move earth. Maybe we could move it down in the earth a little bit more so that it's stable.
I don't want to fiddle with it too much. I'm guessing it sits in a particular way, very specifically at surface level and not below it for a reason. What I don't know is why, but once it's up, then maybe I can do a druidic check or something and see if I can figure out what it is or where it comes from, or other people can do their thing and figure out age or whatever.
Montlarin, your divine sense does not smell anything here.
Interesting. Okay.
It is not celestially or fiendishly charged.
Right.
The RNA is just gonna push the stone back into place.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a +5 athletics. If you beat that, by all means.
Oh, it's you. Anybody with probably a +1 could do this with these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little help with the leverage, and then up it goes. And then Naya and anybody else who wants to help, you can kind of pile up some rocks around it to give it a little bit more stability, so maybe it won't fall over in a heavy breeze.
Right.
And as you do this, the birds all circle rapidly and chirp at a very high rate around the six of you. and once you are done, and once you take a step back, they all go into the woods.
They just bail?
Yeah.
Well, we
Maybe
did
they
get
found
praise.
us behind?
They did. They did
Yeah,
praise.
they did the so long and thanks for fixing the altar.
And thanks to all the
Totally.
fish.
Yeah, I probably should have done the ritual earlier. Oh well. All right. So let me, Nimbus. Maybe you want to do something with your magic spells. I want to look around for anything druidic. This has definitely got a druidic flavor.
I can try to see what sort of magic is around.
I don't have it
Probably while
prepared.
people were setting things up, I would have done a ritual detect magic.
Sure. Yeah, and then Naya, you can also make a perception roll if you'd like to look for anything like that.
Yeah. Investigate the area.
So,
Jeez, +7 to perception. She got a 12. That sucks.
Nimbus, you actually don't sense any magic on this thing.
That it's a
Which-
natural spring.
Yeah, which isn't weird for like any kind of like shrine or idol that you've seen. You normally wouldn't get magic off of them. So,
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, it's a 2,000-year-old bird bath. I
Does
mean,
it-
like, legit. Really.
Right.
Like,
With that
Is there
column
any-
replaced, does it seem fairly complete? Like, does the bird seem content with it?
I guess they flew off.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there-
Well, but by all like as far as you can tell in bird language, they were quite happy.
Where did they fly off to?
They just sort of scattered into the woods.
Is there anything else I can glean off of that investigation check? While she's looking around, I would want to revisit the spot where I found that scale and maybe check to see if there's anything else, more signs of.
I think that is about all you're going to get from it.
While I've got the detect magic up, I'm gonna kind of walk around in the perimeter to see if there's any other things that I might find that detect magic actually interfaces with, or if it's
Right.
pretty mundane.
I'll let you do that, but I want to pose something to the group.
It's fairly mundane over here.
Okay.
So we have this pretty ordinary looking stone something or other. It could be a 2,000-year-old bird bath. It could be a forest shrine for a forest god. It could be any number of things. That the birds were interested in it, I think, is kind of interesting and something of note. But now that they've taken off, the question that remains is, why would the dragon princes even care about this shrine enough to topple it over
Right.
at all? And we don't know the answer
because
to that, but I want to
one
pose
of
the
these-
question so that it percolates in everybody's mind.
Was it just fuck these birds?
Well, I was actually thinking about that, and it's most likely they saw what they thought might have been a magic source of water. They came and investigated, maybe, kicked it a couple times, and
All right, so from a druidic perspective, let me pose something else. That this is actually quite ancient, that it is a source of power and a repository of power, and that the dragon princelings knew it, and all they had to do was topple that over to wreck it and disrupt the power flow.
Right.
And so they did.
What
But that suggests that there's more power here than is apparent.
Right, or that they want.
Picking his nose while he makes this observation. What an awful fragile symbol of power.
Well, but symbols of power are,
Ones that-
especially in druidic culture, are very, very ordinary. They tend to hide in plain sight. So the fact that this is a bowl flanked by two sides is more obvious than your typical druidic thing.
Is there anything in the bowl? Like water?
Aside from a trickle of water and a few leaves, no.
I'm gonna drink that water. I'm parched.
It was quite clean and tasty as water goes.
Nice.
Yeah, I imagine there's a spring nearby, or it is actually magically sourced. But we're not picking up any detect magic stuff here. So this seems to be a font, really, of natural water. And it just kind of begs the question, why would dragon princes care enough to bother to topple off the side of it?
Well,
I mean, maybe they were having a bad day.
Well,
and they kicked it and it fell over.
I mean,
but-
maybe they just, came for a drink and the big guy, accidentally knocked it over when he was leaning down grabbing a drink.
He does shake the ground when he steps.
Sure.
This is all speculation. We have a place that we ought to be getting to.
What's worrisome, though, is that means they've actually ranged this far, so we'll need to keep a low profile going forward so they don't spot us
Right.
after we
Oh,
found the key.
But I think if we hadn't found the dragon scale, we could speculate endlessly on what and why and how. But the fact that we found that dragon scale suggests that they actually made some effort to topple it.
So
The dragon scales don't fall off that
Does
easily.
it-
I have to tell.
Does it
as a dragon, I would know this.
look like it's actually from one of them, or does it look like it was from perhaps one of those salamanders that we encountered when the fire elemental was around?
That would be difficult to tell. You haven't gotten really a
Well, we saw
Close
what
enough look.
scales on Morio
Well, I
look
have a
like. Were they
question,
similar to that?
You did see scales on Morio, and he had scales very similar to his Drake mount. So if you saw the scales from Morio and the scale from his mount side by side, it would probably be a little bit difficult to tell them apart.
Right.
Well, and I have a
In
question.
terms of color and
Nice
size,
problem.
it's the right size and color to fit these people that you know, or potentially their minions or mounts.
Gotcha.
With Naya being a dragonborn, how much similarity in terms of dragon scales is there between the dragon princes and Naya? I mean, apart from color and stuff.
I imagine, especially like the metallic dragonborn, which you are,
Right.
are very smooth in their scales. So almost like rather than being distinct scales, you would sort of have ripples that you could sort of see. And obviously, if you I believe you said before, like in stressful situations, the scales may rise a little bit, so you it kind of gets spiky, or obviously
like the hair on the back of a dog's neck.
Yeah,
kind of thing,
or just when naturally shedding, the scales would come off individually every now and then, and
right. But are they the same size, or dragonborn that much bigger, or?
I think your scales would be quite a bit smaller.
Okay, I did not expect that answer.
But from what you saw, here's how I would say it. Your scales are more like fish almost.
All right, so they're tight.
Yeah.
Tight and smooth. All right.
But what you saw of the dragon folk though is that they have the woman in particular. She had scales running up her neck and her face. She had scales on her shoulders and her arms. She had a tail that was thick at the base and very long and fully scaled. And obviously she was clothed, so you couldn't see the full extent of everything. But based on what you did see, you imagine there could be a fair variety of actual scale sizes depending on where the scale originated from. So,
all right. So, what Naya's going to say then to the group is, Alvistaver found the one scale. I'm going to say that this is a scale from one of those princeling.
So this makes me feel like piss, but I mean, if that's the case, we need to knock over this stone.
No, I think maybe the princeling knocked over the stone in the first place.
No. You miss what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to knock over this stone. It's part of, security reasons.
Oh, so that we don't get into a fight with the princeling?
It's so the princelings don't know something's up over here and goes and checks over at our church.
Right.
All right,
They
so
don't
let
necessarily
me
know that it
pose
was
this
us.
question here. What are the odds that they're going to come back through here as part of their patrol over these thousands of acres of land and look for this little shrine to see if what's down is still down?
There's an interesting thing about patrols. They tend to come back and forth, you see, and one of them are giant, and Morio had a flying creature.
No, he didn't.
He had a lot of flying creatures.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he had flying creatures, but they weren't scaled flying creatures.
Your point?
This was not a Mephit
No,
residue.
that's not. Yeah, and that's
Now,
not part of my point.
Naya, I will remind you that
are scouting this area.
One thing that you recall being mentioned is that their kind of motive that one of their motives that they mentioned to you was that they go collecting treasure from places in the Redshift zone.
So they already came
Right.
here and found nothing.
Well, they turned over the slab maybe to look for treasure.
Yeah.
Right, or maybe they took the thing that was treasure and the birds never cared about that, so.
Right. Thanks, Herb.
All I'm saying is that if they truly lay claim to this ground, any responsible patrol will take note of that. And if you guys don't want to knock it back over, I am going to tell Lucent about how this has been put here and how we put it back up and the security. What's the term? How that is a fault in security.
They also could have just knocked it over with their tail accidentally.
Yeah,
I was thinking that too.
We have
But
no
also,
idea
I
how the
mean-
scale got there. One of them might have grabbed it from, miles away and brought it here.
Truth.
One of the birds could have
then
found the cast-off scale and
week
brought
or
it here because it was
two,
pretty.
month later, maybe even a year later, when they come back and we figure out that it's because of that.
I hope we're not still here in a year.
We've been here for like 2 years, haven't we?
I don't
Yeah,
expect
you guys have
that.
made progress in 2 years.
I don't expect that they're
Haven't we
actually
been
going
here?
to be coming for us, though. The intent is to stay away from their paths and patrols for long enough to find out where they're located, and then potentially take the fight to them.
Is this not then at least a highlight that this is a patrol area?
We can mention that we restored this shrine, but I don't think.
That would be irresponsible. You would need to mention that we not only restored the shrine, but we found a scale there, which opens up the option that this could be a part of their patrol area, which is well within the area that we saw them in and they told us not to be in, right?
Well within
It's a
the area,
security
that's the
concern.
entire Redshift, so you're not really nailing anything down with that.
Okay,
They don't
then
really
there's no
seem. The
point
giant
for
doesn't
us-
seem like he really wants to go through the woods. Like if he was going through the
Can-
woods, there'd be trees knocked over everywhere.
There would be, if your argument
you have not
stood,
seen,
there would be no
knocked
point for
trees,
us
yeah.
to be sneaky while going from place to place. We would just be walking straight towards, there's no point to be sneaky or on edge then if this is not well within their patrol area and this is not a clear sign that they have been here, right? I'm saying this is a security concern, and none of your arguments have highlighted how this is not a blatant security concern. They've been arguments of people who have obviously never been on the front lines of any kind of logistical battle. Von Laren, I turn over to the big armored dude here amongst us. Surely you have talked or have studied to some noble degree in protecting your elven forest's home. Surely you would know of the kinds of responsibilities one should take within war times, or at least threatened times such as these. Is this not a blatant security a failure?
Oh, you're not wrong in that we would be taking a risk by not setting it back. However, honestly, I don't think that either of those two showed the sort of attention to detail or fastidiousness necessary to even notice what you're talking about here. I think they're way more careless than that, especially those two. They struck me as very young. And so, yeah, we are taking a risk, but I think it's a small one. On the other hand, I think the risk of being caught out in the open substantially higher. And so I'm glad that we know that they come this far out. But I think we're fine leaving things as is. And besides, it's obviously the natural order of things. It's the way things should be. We should set it right and move on.
We should probably ask Arissa if she actually knows about this, if this had been the site of something larger at some point.
I agree. I mean, to just make the effort at all means that there is something powerful here. Desecrating a shrine, even if it's just some little forest shrine, suggests that there's actually power here, or there was. Somebody held it in reverence. I
will give this as a counteroffer on security, though. What's going to get us revealed more? Adjusting a shrine that any number of entities, goblins, Tilda, the worker, any other thing that we've seen out here, other creatures exist out here, could have potentially fixed. Or having a bunch of cardinals chirping and swarming around us in the woods that somebody probably could see from far away if they were a giant. I think the cardinals is probably a bigger concern. So the fact that we made them happy and got them off our back was probably a better deal.
Good point.
Well, and we don't know.
Would likely set them off.
We don't know down the road. None of us can tell the future. But helping the Cardinals might be useful in the future at some point. They'll remember that we helped.
If we get saved,
that's my hope.
Cardinals, Amber Green better write a fucking song about that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm like, that's my hope.
Albus Valley,
the Red Tide,
chart topper,
the Crimson Tide. Oh wait, that's already been done. Never mind. So as tempting as it is to spend 10 minutes doing the ritual to talk to animals and to talk more with the birds and find out, what is this place? I kind of get the impression everybody else wants to move on and keep going.
Well, they flew off too, and I do want to
we'd have to, we'd have to find them.
Let's go find.
Yeah, this was
we'd have to go find them.
Good, half-hour diversion. Walking up to the north here and finding this and talking about it, but I think it's time to continue our big destination. Considering we are looking at getting one of the 3 vault keys to an ancient vault. That's pretty high priority.
It is. I was just a little worried.
Oh no. Worry is noted for sure. Don't forget, though, we've all been out here fighting on the front lines of a sort of military expedition for the past couple of years. So, strategy is what it is. There's always different ways to look at it. Anyway, let's get going.
So, you all might remember that a half hour ago, Montlarn rolled a 16, just as Albus Tavern did.
Yep.
Exactly.
Therefore, Montlarn, please hit the encounter button.
Damn it, I was hoping you'd forgotten that.
Oh, no, actually quite the opposite. I was hoping that the two would overlap.
That would be cool. Make an ultra encounter.
Okay. Montlarn.
You need more tables for that.
If you get multiple encounter rows in the same day, you still get one encounter in the day, but it
just levels up.
Yeah. See,
like a midway game prize.
I knew I tickled all the designers there.
Then I could just have you guys roll them all in a row, and then we could just see what happens.
That.
Montlarn, you smell fresh cooking.
I swear it's not me, mate.
Is it yummy fresh cooking?
Oh yeah. You can
Definitely not me.
Taste it in the air, and I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right.
Uh-oh. We've been here before.
We both said uh-oh at the same time.
All of us?
Great minds.
Okay. Everybody else. God, Montlarin, it's so good. Like you immediately like go all the way back to 15 years old, coming back from training to the full spread in the manor, and everybody else, you see Montlarin just kind of stop and like slowly plod forward a little bit until he finally stands completely still, and his eyes just go glazed, and he is very clearly drooling.
Yeah.
What's
Lauren,
what's going on there, buddy?
snap out of it. I'm snapping, trying not to be at his face, but of course that I'm failing miserably at 2 feet tall.
Yeah, you don't smell that. It's so good.
Yo, I don't.
Does anyone else smell it?
None of the rest of you notice. Actually, yeah, you know what? Anybody who wants can make a perception check, rather.
If I don't smell anything,
Yeah.
slap him a bit with the mage hand and say, "Yo, you're under a spell. I gotta cast something on you, bro."
Okay.
It all depends on if I or somebody else smells something.
Aranis,
Yes.
you pick up a whiff. Because of that, because you're seeking it out, you will still have to make a con save.
That's fine.
Oh,
I
Is
guess it's not.
Is it?
so
Could you use a physical dot?
You know what?
you could.
I think I can. Let me use 2 of them. So that's
2d4, yeah.
So
Okay.
17 or 16.
16, yeah. So you there is about 3 seconds where you go all the way back to the winter feast, like right after your second hunt, and then you slap yourself out of it, and you're back in the Redshift zone.
Nobody else
Yeah.
smells this?
I mean,
no.
I smell it.
Yeah. So, Aranis, you have you gain enough wherewithal to plug your nose, and also with your perception, you gained insight into the direction this was coming from, and it very clearly is wafting from a point.
All right, Montlarin. I'm sorry. This is just a good opportunity for some experimentation. All right, I'm gonna make you laugh a little bit, and hopefully that's going to counteract the hex that you've been put under.
Oh boy!
Why don't we just hold him?
Wait, are you casting hideous laughter?
Why are you holding your nose there, Ernest?
Oh, I mean, it smells really good, but
I don't.
nothing about it natural.
Oh gosh. Well,
smell
I
it.
guess Montlarin has to succeed on a wisdom saving throw. I don't think I would have any kind of
Have you heard
advantage
this
or.
joke about tiny tarts and a feather? And I wave it in the air.
I think that's less than his spell save, you see.
Oh my god, you guys.
We're rolling so well.
He's fucking gone.
That is
Montlarin!
Feather.
Montlarin, can you smell it anymore? Are you okay?
He's on the floor laughing.
Yeah, a bit.
And I'm
Uncontrollably.
And I'm just saying that while I'm standing on top of him, dude.
It is concentration, so you can end it whenever you want.
Is the spell is the smell away? Can you still smell it? Do you still want to eat food?
I think you have to drop the spell before I can answer that question.
Incapacitated. Can he talk?
Does Depends
Let
on how
me
you,
read
you want to
this.
rule unconscious.
A creature of your choice.
He's
Action
having
reaction.
fits. He's having fits of laughter, so I think he can like talk falteringly.
Now, the way I roll on intelligence checks, do I count as a creature with a 4 or less intelligence?
I think at the moment, your intelligence is at least 4, and there is you have now
I can't let it up until you tell me, man.
you've left the feast, but you are at Albus Tavris comedy show.
Well, he's rolling on the
Not sure
ground
which is
laughing.
worse.
I'm just kind of standing up above him like, man, I can't let up until you tell me you don't smell it anymore. Do you still smell the feast? We know which way it's coming from, but I'm going to have to gag you after I let up on this spell because you're my big shield, bro.
You're my big shield.
No.
No, you can't smell it anymore. You're good.
Do my best to shake my head.
All right, I lit up just for a few seconds longer because I am technically evil. I mean neutral. Yeah, the spell is gone, and he snaps his fingers, hands him a bandana. Cover your mouth quickly.
I will do so immediately.
You're fine now.
I
Too
can't
funny.
believe that worked.
That was a good joke. Thanks for that.
That was very clever.
Now, do we want to try to figure out where this is? Because I have some flowers and some wax. We can make some gas masks, or we could get the fuck out of here.
Right, are we just gonna-
That was freaky.
Can we? Most of us didn't smell it, so
I mean, you probably will if you get closer, so you can plug your nose and we can avoid it, or we can kind of confront it.
This is up to the group.
It seems.
yeah. Do we have
I'm all for
bandanas?
moving on. I mean, I confess some curiosity. Like,
Point-
what is that hex? What is that spell?
Point
And
me
who is
towards
casting it? But
Part of
Right.
me, part of me
only-
hopes that
only
it actually
someone
is
who
a
is-
feast.
can't really smell it should be doing that investigation.
Yeah, I can just hold my breath. Where's it at? What direction?
Irenaeus, you can yeah, he can hold his breath indefinitely, and yeah, Ari, you can point in the direction you're kind of sensing it from.
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah.
so great. Okay, I'm gonna plop
Slightly
Keen on
north,
your shoulder.
East.
Yeah. So not more than 100 feet away, behind some trees, you find a you know those flowers that bloom like once every 3 years and smell like meat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, corpse
flowers.
flower. Yeah.
Yeah. You find a plant that is of a similar scale, and as you get close, the Irenaeus, you having like steeled yourself against this experience already, can tell that this is the thing.
Okay.
Is it animate? I wonder.
Yeah, I'm very wary of a plant that makes people want to go to it.
I'm gonna generate a gallon-sized glob of water and just kind of drop it on top of the plant.
Drown it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna drown it. It's just gonna kind of.
I'm looking for.
Well, it's got its own clever ways of gathering dinner.
I'm looking for like the surrounding area, as if like the plant itself is like a big wide thing, and just the lure is this one.
Is there a pile of bones in front of it?
Yeah,
Right.
basically. Big snap claws
Nimbus,
that come up.
you.
I'm doing this from a safe distance, by the way.
You bombard this thing with a bunch of water, and it splashes and soaks the plant, but also kind of it overflows the pitcher part of it a little bit, and you see some fragments of skeletons of birds and squirrels just kind of float out and drop to the ground as a result of this tidal wave.
So it does eat stuff.
Well, carnivorous plants are not unknown. This one has a very clever method of doing that. Bring dinner to you instead of having to go find.
That was my thought.
I wonder if we could transplant it.
I don't know why we would want it.
As a weapon.
Sorry, Autumn.
Right. I was going to say Soriana might want it.
Yeah.
That's true.
She probably would, actually.
Take that thing on my horse. I'm just going to be walking around in circles. So.
What's the part of it that Soriana would actually want?
Probably
She'd
the
want to
entire-
study the whole thing,
entire thing, roots and
how
all.
it works,
And
what
then
its
the
juices
stalk
are,
in the middle.
how it
Probably-
digests things.
Yeah, I don't know that we can take a cutting.
I mean, we know where it's at relative to the little bird bath thing, so at least we have 2 points of interest we can kind of base around.
Yeah, direct people back to. That's true.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think
Also
that,
direct
right,
people
leads.
around.
yeah. So I think that would be a better alternative. Note where it's at and let Sariana come with perhaps an extraction team or her herself to just be able to check it out and take the parts she needs from it.
It's a good idea.
All right. Well, that being the case, Alvastaver, you know what to do with the map there.
Yeah, most definitely. Give me a second. I was going to mark it down. There we go. We're good.
And yeah, okay then. That is marked. And so what next?
We should probably get going. That was a couple of fun distractions there, but we're almost to our destination.
Yeah,
For our
and
first
the
destination.
the sun is setting quick. So you imagine you could get back to Eris's Tower before nightfall proper.
Cool.
So let's.
Elvis Taver, I want to be absolutely pristinely clear with you. There are
What?
shinies all over this place,
Yeah,
as you know.
No, he was
Yeah,
here.
I
I
know.
was here.
I know we've already stayed here at night, but just, remember
Do you
to...
not trust me?
Well, it's not a matter of trust. It's that I appreciate your efficiency. When we
And
went
the
into
person said that we could take anything that we wanted.
well,
I
that
figured
was
Smitty would enjoy some of the artifacts that we found in somewhat completed states.
well, some of the loose components that you gathered up, sure, but the ones that are embedded and actually part of the power structure and senses, of course, we'll leave behind. But what I was also going to say is there's a decent chance among the books, since we didn't really get to look through them too much, there might be some things of interest there, and it's just a matter of course, asking permission before taking any. But no,
Never
I
taken anything.
I do appreciate your efficiency, though. I remember the snake statue that we found under the little druidic cache in the it was that floating island, wasn't it? And man,
Yeah,
you got
and
those
my-
gems out pristinely, perfectly, just so fast.
And you used up both of my pearls.
Well, we've been using them to great effect.
Our pearls.
I mean, if you want a
Ouch.
pearl like that, I can just buy one. It's no big deal.
No, I'm joking. No, I am kidding.
I mean, if you want this one for sentimental value, I could just buy another one. It's, the tool, not the specific item.
You never-
It's not for me. God, no.
Oh, no, for
I'm
your guild, of
a
course.
student. Yeah, that's for the museum.
Yeah, well, we'll sort that out. I really have no specific attraction to this other than that it gets the job done.
Honestly, because of my my chronicle of the whole event, I was hoping that we can get the 2 pearls back pristine condition, that the exhibit would have a recreation of the snake statue, jewels and all. I actually still have some of the. I mean, I don't know where the gems are.
I figured you sent some back. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. We can probably get those 2 pearls back in your possession here.
It's all completely for history and educational.
Yeah, sure. Anyhow,
do any of you make any kind of greeting or announcement when you get to the tower?
I certainly
I assume you are
Yeah.
camping out, like, sort of in the tower for the sake of...
oh yeah, as soon as we're within any range of one of the crystals, I'd probably already be waving and saying hi.
Okay. Yeah, so both of Arissa Lomefield's forearms, mage hand style, generate out of thin air, and you hear her voice out loud. And she says, everyone, commission, was it? That's your organization? Welcome back.
Thank you. Oh, some interesting things we found on the way here. Was there ever a fountain of some importance to the southwest of here? It seems some red cardinals.
What do you know about red birds?
Were upset about
In
one
the
of the
forest.
pillars of this birdbath in the forest being knocked over. We restored it, and they seemed content and flew away.
I don't think I've ever heard of something like that, but this place of the country was always a little wild, so it's possible that you found some small shrine that maybe somebody set up in the wilderness, unknown to me.
Oh.
I expect that's what it was.
We'll have to grab some water on the way back to let Soriana analyze and see if it actually is an elemental source. If so, I know that was something that she required for her potion making. Huh. Well, all right. So we've talked to the leadership, and they're definitely interested in getting an obelisk set up here, so that way.
Oh, excellent.
We'll be able to communicate and see what else we can do from there.
As a sotto voce comment to the companions, Naya asks if we should make any mention of the breathing temple that recognized
Oh, definitely.
her. Okay.
There's a
that makes sense.
temple that we've been kind of using as our base of operations that seem to recognize you. It's this temple that kind of like flexes and moves as it almost, breathes and talks. It's been kind of tired because the state of repair has been kind of poor, and we've been working on that. But it also it was a temple to a pantheon of kinder gods. Are you familiar with any such temple to the southwest of here?
Oh, my word. Guyvine? Wait. He was... His temple was talking to you?
Yes.
Yeah, much
He
like
woke up and talked to us.
how you're a part of this building, I believe he is a part of that one. What did you say his name was?
Well, Guyvine was the head priest. Did he? Do you know him? Have you spoken to him, or?
Yes.
We've spoken to him.
He doesn't have all of his memories, but every once in a while, someone will say something, and we mentioned your name, and it woke him up. He remembered your name, and it actually awakened him from his slumber.
In a remembrance of an incident with some offering?
Well, I
Oh, the
I
honey
did often
bread.
go.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like Guy.
Yeah, he said that you would make a honey bread that he really loved.
Huh.
In
I
fact,
can't believe it.
it's odd to think that a temple could access in some sort of way at all, but do you still know the recipe or have it among your books by any chance? I kind of think we could probably replicate it.
Asking an old halfling woman for her recipes.
I've got a hankering for some honey bread.
Oh dear, I can.
None of us are of the folk.
I hanker for a hunk of honey bread.
That you even feel like you need to ask is a joke. Come, I will tell you. And she'll she will inform you of her recipe that she keeps, and it's all in her head, obviously. But while she does that, and you are writing it down, she says, Guyveen Lares is his name. He, well, he was the head cleric of the temple. It's he is older than I am by a few centuries. He was an old elf even when I knew him.
He doesn't quite remember his purpose or his name or how he came to be or any of those things, but he was glad that we were there making repairs. He was occasionally, he gets tired easily, but he's glad to have somebody to talk to. He was glad that there was some kind of at least respect for the statuary that is now broken or missing.
That's good. He
it seemed to rouse him
a shame
a bit.
He didn't make it out.
Are you speaking of the temple's collapse and decline?
Rather that if I had known, I would have maybe tried harder to inform the others near him that the Redshift was coming, and see if I could get them to evacuate. But
was there a way that you could have communicated with them?
it was hard enough to communicate just with the major cities that were in the path before me. I spent several days trying to get small messages back and forth amidst all the chaos. I'm afraid I don't think I did too much good.
Doesn't seem like something where anybody really could have been ready for it. To have less than a few days preparation to go across a continent to get out of the radius of something of unknown size.
They were
an unknown effect.
I
mean, I don't think anybody really understood what it could do.
It's likely that the magic itself was powerful enough such that no fortune teller or scryer of futures could have even determined that it could ever have happened until it happened. So,
Well,
don't beat yourself up too much about it. It's a thing that occurred. You didn't have any control. You certainly didn't cause it.
He says,
that's true. ...
I
I call myself a guardian, so I just wish I could have done something more. But
Well, I think it's wonderful that you can fill in some of the blanks, because then we can go back to him, call him by name, and maybe it will trigger some more memory.
Man, just think about it.
Naya, she audibly cheers up at that and says, "You're right. That's a good idea. I mean, I certainly was lost for a time, and I think the solitude of the ages has done a number on our individual minds, trapped as they are. It would be wonderful to hear if you can get that old man back to the way he was."
Well, we will certainly give it a go.
One other question of things in the surrounding area. We came across a plant that, to some of us, smelled quite nice. I didn't attempt to smell it myself, and apparently it's a large flower. It probably doesn't bloom very frequently, but it seemed to have the skeletons of birds and squirrels in its basin.
Seems to be our carnivorous plant with a very unique kind of scent.
Is that something that was contemporary to your times, or
Do you describe the stupefying property
yeah?
of it in detail?
Yeah.
Okay. Watlar?
I was gonna say it smelled like the best thing I'd ever eaten. But I don't mean that it smelled like something like the best thing I've ever eaten. It smelled exactly like the best thing I've ever eaten. It was
She says-
Can
amazing.
confirm.
This is not a tribute.
She says that that doesn't sound like any flora I'm familiar with. I don't think we were home to anything quite so
Well, I wonder if it's a redshifted effect.
It could be. We found two different ones, didn't we? Sets of twig blight plants. Big
found
old
one.
pods.
Oh yeah. There were a few flower pods, yeah, in that area that eventually, I believe, withered away, or were not there the next time you went.
Right. How have the ones that grandmother's been doing? Incidentally, we haven't checked in with her there for a while.
Grandmother and Kapua are quite happy. The twig child is very much a child. It has sort of taken on the appearance of a humanoid array of twigs that has no mouth, no nose, but great big black eyes. And you guys haven't gone to speak with them lately, but from what you've heard, it's been making strides toward the 5 to 10-year-old human range of emotional maturity.
Wow.
Grown pretty quick.
With the caveat, of course, that it came out around that age, just not fresh born and all that. originally ran away scared, but has since come back and become a healthy part of the Grandmother's Grove.
Yeah, I remember that.
Excellent.
So what sorts of things might be in the Flower Sea when we get there, and keep in mind what sort of twisting, tainting power this Redshift may have and may have done to affect the guardians or defenders of automatons or whatever might be there.
Elvis Tapper laughs. Yeah, are we going to walk through a field of poppies and fall asleep?
Something like that. Well, the book you hold should act as your, it's like a key to a key, and actually, well, if you've seen the vault itself before, you're perhaps familiar with the concept of a demiplane.
Yeah.
You should find yourself in a area like that upon using the book. And once you're there, well, you will. I cannot tell you exactly what will occur. It is meant to be something that you personally experience.
Okay.
I had to do it myself as a trainee, as an apprentice. But
so Naya interrupts with a question.
Yeah.
So would it be different for everyone in the group? A different experience?
It's similar for everyone, and as a group, actually, well, I went in with my master, so it should be the same. You should not be separated, rather, and you will be monitored, and I think you'll be able to identify this, but you should not have to worry about automatons or anything of the like. And my hope is that due to this protective area being inside a demiplane, it may have avoided the effects of the schism that came from Vess. It's not part of this world proper, so unless something has seeped through the doorway, which should be shut, it should be unaffected. That is the goal of it being in a demiplane, at least.
Seems reasonable.
What if the sending method itself has been harmed and it sends us to a different demiplane?
That I didn't consider.
Would you like to inspect the book before we head out then?
Did he say diagonally?
Diagonally.
Diagonally.
Obliquely.
Did you ask her to inspect the book?
Yeah, if she'd like to inspect the book to see if it seems like it's in the proper state.
She basically did before she gave it to you.
Okay.
So she says the book is fine. If something went wrong with the demiplane's entrance, well, every demiplane should have an exit. So if something did go wrong, I'm afraid all I can do is ask you to tell me so if you make it back, and then I suppose we'll have to troubleshoot.
Very well then.
I'm afraid I can't give much more advice than that.
Fair enough.
Well, that's about as good as it's going to get then. Great. Well, I think we should probably start.
It's dark out now, right?
Yes, it is.
Start making our camp preparations.
I wonder.
Have you been able to make any sorry, go ahead.
No, actually, this is completely off topic. So if you like, this is on topic.
Been able to make any progress salvaging and reusing the equipment and materials around here, or not quite yet?
Well, as far as my little project goes, it's definitely slow working in this state. Would that I had my proper hands, although I suppose these are a bit younger than I'm used to, so it's a trade-off. It's a bit of work, and there's still some to be done, but I expect shortly after you all are able to retrieve this key, if you are able to, I should have the resonance device ready for you. And obviously, I'll happily hand it over as soon as it's done.
That would be fantastic.
So, the Novice Tavern is saying this while setting up camp. Barring we all get through this okay and stuff like that. Like, is there any like key to your location being here or something like that? Like, I'm sure I could find a patron or some kind of funding to revitalize this tower, maybe even transfer it to a completely different location.
Oh, yeah. So this was actually a conversation that we sort of had last session. So you would have been here for it, but basically the gist of it was like you can think of her as living inside the crystals that are in the tower, but consider that the structure of the tower is simultaneously a part of this network that kind of has the magical acuity to replicate her halfling brain.
So we would need some kind of like teleportation spell, mass levitation kind of thing.
Yeah, basically, like the gist of it is like if you were able to transplant the tower as a whole, or like get the tower fully repaired, or maybe even like build something equally complex as the tower, if you somehow had that level of expertise, and then she thinks there's a chance she might be able to like transplant to something like that, if there were a direct connection. But she says she's basically like, yeah, I'm not opposed to trying solutions. Obviously, I'm being stuck here forever is less than what one would hope for at the end of her life. But it's a difficult task you speak of.
Yes.
And I'm afraid I wasn't around when they built this thing either.
Though rebuilding such a thing may be an impossibility to those members of my guild that may have the means or funds or connections to get such a job done. I mean, you are exactly the kind of wonder I have been looking for. To get this entire building as is, you intact, to a place where many people can visit you and talk to you, that would just be a dream come true.
Well, she says I am a bit of a hermit, but I don't mind visitors.
Absolutely. He makes very quick notes, an outline to a letter that he needs to write.
Anything else before we pass the night?
I'm good.
I think I'm alright.
I would probably just while we're setting up camp and getting all ready, I'd probably spend a little bit of time trying to mend any cracks and damage and easy sort of stuff that I would actually be able to fix.
Yeah, I think I think the mending spell should be able to do that. So there's not too much of that around here, and obviously the most grievous of wounds to the tower is something that you think would be difficult to fix. It's not like it is. It is. It was obviously something that once stood up straight and has now been bent in such a way that it is as though it has always been this way. It's so. What I'm saying is it's not currently rubber. But yeah, cracks here and there. A little bit of basic cleanup is not too hard. You could probably even try to repair that desk of hers, or at least make some progress toward it. That her corpse chucked at you and shattered into a dozen pieces.
A dozen pieces I can probably do.
Yeah. That would give her a nice like workspace for her hands, even. Okay then. So we'll come upon the next morning, and the guardian witch bids you a fine day, and we'll go back to the map here. Oh, nice roll 20. Thank you.
I only saw a big green field. It's okay.
Yeah, it's good. So she does give you directions to the Flower Sea, and she tells you that you should be able to get there about 5 to 10 miles north. Due north. It's a short walk. You'll be there by noon.
Very short.
Damn. Yeah.
And again, she reminds you what to expect. It's called the Flower Sea for a reason, and even though it is the middle of winter, you should expect them to be in full bloom, and the sort of weather in the local area to be quite temperate because of the enchantment on the sea.
Lovely.
So she gives you direction to kind of just go deep into the sea. You'll know the spot when you see it, and then you can use the book to enter the Keys vault.
Oh yeah, that book, the one that I have. Brown book, the key.
Ah, very good. So we won't have to roll any random encounters today because you guys should be able to make it there pretty quickly. So we'll just go ahead and move your token.
What if we lollygag so long that
If you lollygag a really long time, you could get there at the end of the day. If you want to do that,
No,
that's up to you. Okay.
I mean, unless
I'm gonna,
the encounters could, be good, then.
I'm going to call a 5-minute break for everyone, and then we can get right back to it.
Ooh, good idea. I'm gonna go get some
All right.
swamp water.
Okay.
Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum. BRB.
Okay, I've returned.
I am back as well.
I have returned.
He's here.
I am here. Hmm. I'm
All right,
here,
I'm back.
ready to make waves, fucking world build, collaborate, move the nobles of the world in order to bring an army here.
Collaborate and also listen.
Oh, stop.
Alvis Tapper does very
Well
little
played.
listening. It's in the name. As you should know, we have a friend named Taver.
No.
It means one who talks a lot. In like Welsh, right?
The connotation is someone who yammers,
Nordic.
who goes on, and yeah,
It's technically slang too. So like when I say it's a word, I like it's a word.
It's a colloquialism.
It's a colloquialism, yeah. But yeah, it's a person who yammers, who talks a lot. Alvis is all-knowing or something along the lines of that. Wise. So I am the all-knowing yammerer.
Wise talker? That's
I
funny.
am a wise talker, exactly.
That is the full name. Is that one that he gave to himself?
Uh-huh.
It would have to be.
Interesting.
He's well read, and he has an int of 2, which I feel is sophomoric enough to give yourself a title like that.
Oh, +2. Yes. Okay.
Sure.
No. That's totally fine.
An intelligence check of +2. That's what I mean. He has a 14 intelligence of +2. Yes. Not very wise, so it's more like, oh, wise talker. That sounds like a good name, and he just rolled with it, right? So you never got like the other side of, oh, you're just a wise talker, aren't you?
Totally.
Now, is that something like somebody called him once and then he was just like, yes?
No. He liked reading fairy tales, if you can remember.
Okay.
And he was also forced to learn another language other than the ones that he was expected to know. And so he chose giant. And the giants have a lot of interesting stories. Specifically, interestingly enough, stories pertaining to dwarf relationships and gnome relationships to the giants. And those were the stories, of course, Alvis Taffer hung up on. And one of those stories, and I'm also pulling this out of my ass, but I am, doing it in an informed way. One of those stories was about a giant who wielded a hammer who didn't want his daughter to marry a gnomish trickster who had gotten his way with the giant's daughter more than once while he was away at war. And this fairy tale is highly inaccurate, let me tell you, specifically as the kind of gnome that they're talking about. But the giants had this weird thought that gnomes turn to stone on daylight or something like that. And so as the tale goes, the Alvis Taver in title was this guy who was able to talk this giant up and down about all of the shit that he knew about in order to prove, that he was knowledgeable enough in the world to actually marry his daughter. But he was too prideful at the end of the story to basically let himself lose. And so he let himself get turned into stone and let daylight touch him in order to prove to the giant that he was, all that and a bag of chips.
I remember you talking about this at some point. You've named the story before.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Between Thor and somebody else, a gnome that wanted to marry his daughter. But
everybody back?
That's where I got the name from.
I am.
Anybody not back?
I'm not back. No, that's
No problem. All right, then. Let's go ahead. So you guys are going north, assuming you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and...
You said no encounter roll?
Right. We won't be needing one because you...
Oh, it's the next tile. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is the encounter.
I see.
So, it is still morning. You guys, I figure, got up bright and early. You probably left most of your camp here anyway, because you'll most likely be coming back. And you venture off into the Flower Sea. Now, it is much like the Guardian Witch said. As far as you can see, stretching out before you north and a ways away from that is a sea of pink and yellow blooming flowers, completely out of season, but they appear to be getting all of the sunlight and nourishment they could ever need. And Alvis Taver, for you, this might be a situation where you'd even want to get up on somebody's shoulders or something like that, because these flowers create a almost solid floor of blooms that your head would probably be under. So for everybody else trudging through these flower fields, you would be stepping through and around flowers that kind of come up to your knees. And you find that walking through them, you're not doing any harm to them. They bounce right back up as you step over them.
Oh, that's good. A nice backpack.
There's a monkey on your shield now.
Help me up. I can't walk through. It's too solid of growth. The nature here, it needs a path.
I'll
help you.
He could sit on my shoulders, and then maybe someone would actually be able to see.
Oh yeah,
Learn's on horseback.
trench coat. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
Amber Green,
on
they-
horseback? Okay, then I'm hanging from his horse. Oh, that's
Amber Green,
beautiful.
they tickle your nose if you slouch a little bit.
Right. Okay. I'm just peering out over the top of the.
Yeah.
This habitat is perfect for a dwarf.
And so it's mostly a wide, flat area, rolling hills, but occasionally you'll see like outcrops of like rocky hills that kind of jut up, and the tops of those are coated in flowers and the occasional lonely tree.
What kind of trees are they?
Great oaks for the most part.
Okay.
Demon bunny?
Yeah, the one that makes you delirious when you look at it.
Oh, that demon bunny, yes.
You're like, oh shit, that's perfect. I was thinking of something to attack you here.
Can everybody make a perception roll?
Ah, shit. See, I told you.
Yep. See if you see the demon bunny.
Alice
There
Tavern
it
does
is with
not
that.
see the demon bunny.
I figure we're actually
Oh,
trying
yes.
to find the entrance.
Yeah. That is what you're here for. So, okay. Nice rolls tonight, everyone. Really enjoying it. So, Irenaeus and Naya, you both at the same time. And Motlarn, you probably see this too. So, as I've described, there are the occasional, sudden hill jutting out of the sea. Behind the nearest hill, maybe 1,000 feet to your northeast, you see a pillar of black smoke.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not necessarily not good. It might be something you only see when you're in the presence of the book.
Interesting. Has the book changed at all?
Flipping through the pages, it appears to still be a blank book.
In the presence of the book sounds like a some sort of like para-religious novel.
So what I'm worried about is like we'll crest that hill or otherwise, create line of sight with what turns out to be a camp from our dragon.
Well, then we'll be careful as we creep over the hill.
Can't you send the bird up?
It's kind of glowy.
Could perch in a tree.
I could send the rat up the
I
hill.
could send the rat up a tree.
No, I'll send the rat up the hill.
Yeah. Like if
rat
you
won't
guys
be able to
got
see anything.
if you guys got onto the south side of the hill, well, I mean, it is a hill, so she could like poke her head out the wall of flowers and look down below, most likely.
Oh, okay. If she could do that, like that's what I was worried about.
There's a universe where it's possible for her to get a vantage point.
All right. Well, yeah. Then I'll scout that out for you guys if you point it out to me.
Okay, so
I did not notice it, so I'm gonna.
Do we confirm that as a party
get
you
some
collectively kind of like sneak up on the south side of this hill then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're opposite of this smoke pillar. And Alvis, you send Keen up. And let me see, just checking my memory. Yeah. So you switch over to her form of sight, and this is well under 100 feet for you, so you're able to keep sight on her. And as she slowly makes her way up and weaves through these flowers and finally pokes her head out across the other side of this hill, down back on the lower area, on the lower level, she sees a burning cart, a wagon, that was once covered but is now in pieces on the ground, the source of the smoke. There are several elves who have spilled fresh blood on the ground, on the flowers around them. There is a woman, a blue dragonborn, and a gnome sitting on the dragonborn's shoulder, investigating this cart.
Do these people look familiar?
That's up to Alvis Taver.
Well, do these people look familiar? Like those people whom we've met time and time again during,
Do you want to get up?
flashbacks?
Do you want to get up on the dragonborn's shoulders?
Are they the past people?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
the past people.
Yeah. Alvis Taver confirms that I think we're about to meet some old
Friends?
but also there's been some foul play. Blood has been spilt. A caravan, covered wagon, I should say, lies in fire, and some elves seem to be the culprits.
Well, the elves are dead, right?
The elves are dead. Yeah.
Oh,
the elves are
okay.
dead.
I heard
There's
that wrong.
about 5 of them.
Okay,
Right, they're just
I'm
fresh.
Taking
dead,
up on
is what he was
the
saying.
dragonborn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. What I heard was they had spilled fresh blood or something.
Sorry.
Is there
yeah.
any evidence of who attacked whom?
From Keen's perch, she can see Ferris kind of like sifting through the remains of the cart, trying to avoid the worst of the flames as she does it. She can see Gakari kind of arms folded, watching Ferris do this, but also like pacing around the bodies and sort of like she's looking for something. You're too far away to hear exactly what they're saying. You can see their lips move, but they're probably speaking in a quieter voice than you can hear with Keen. And you see.
Listen. What the fuck is a here? A listen.
How far away are they?
From Keen, not too far. But from the rest of you, maybe 100 feet now or 150.
Well, how are they not seeing us approaching?
Because you're on the other side of the hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're hunkered under the peak of the hill, basically.
Yeah, actually, Alvis, to be clear, if you did send Keen all the way down, you'd lose touch with her.
I'll
You'd have
drop
to circle
down
that.
out of Mount Montlarens and try to keep a distance, right?
Well,
so kind of move the rat forward while I move forward.
What
And
do
the
you,
only
okay.
reason why I say
I would probably
I
ask
should do
them,
this is
like,
because I'm too short.
once you start moving, I'd probably
take
ask,
a
what do you
seat
see over there?
People, Ferris,
Oh, them?
Thackeray. I want to hear what they're saying.
Let's
first.
go help.
They're
our friend.
Stop. No. Their memories are completely different every single time they see
Right.
us.
They
In
don't
this
know us.
reiteration, they might not be friends. Let me get a listen.
All right, so using your height to your advantage in this flower field, you're able to easily hug the hill and keep close enough to Keen that you can hear them with her, and you catch Ferris saying, "No sign of her." But that's better than finding her dead among the guards, right? She kind of is. You can tell she's a little bit shook, and Gakari says, "Well, 5 dead guards for 5 guards on the cart. That's all of them, except for the princess. So, what, you think they took her?"
Do I have to roll a stealth check to talk quietly at this distance?
I mean, they can't hear us. I mean, we can't hear.
Yeah, they're talking quietly enough that you can only hear them because Keen's like right at their feet at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for that.
I was going to also, after a little bit of talking, just so I can assess whether they're pretty good or they're in a bad mood, right? I was going to poke Keen out, I can generally suspect whether people are good or bad based on what they'll do to my familiar. If they crush it, they're cool-hearted bastards who need to die.
Are you going to make Keen obvious to these people?
After a little bit more, they seem to not have caused this, to have just come up onto this and be searching for the princess. We seem to be all in generally agreement that that's something we want to support in. Like, what do you guys?
Yeah, that's a.
Yep.
I expect they're going to ask if we have her.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. So you're continuing to listen?
I'll continue to listen for just a little while longer.
So, Nikta, the gnome riding on Gakuri's shoulder, says, because she is equally as short as you, almost, says, well, it's still burning. It can't have happened too long ago. They must be, like, somewhere nearby, right? We should be able to find them. Ferris says, yeah, but the flowers kind of hide all the tracks, don't they? I don't see anything. But yeah, she's got to be alive. So we'll just have to go look for her. She stands up and brushes off.
The rat crawls up to her and sort of stands on its hind legs.
Okay.
Now that she's sort of Slav squatting.
She jumps back and she's like, "Oh, hello," and Gakuri turns and she's like, she like looks at Ferris like, "Why are you freaking out?" And then she sees the rat and she's like, "What is this?" And Nikta says, "Oh, a mouse. Hello."
I make Keen wave, very, very human-like, and then kind of point over where I'm trying to jump out
above the flowers.
I think a human-like wave would freak me out more than seeing a rat.
Yeah. So like Nikta sees this and she's like, "What is it? Are you trying to tell us something? Do you know where the princess is?"
And shakes her head. No.
Are you from the princess?
No.
You know where the princess is?
No. But it is pointing over there, like that way, with both hands now.
Look at the little guy. Look at the little guy.
They look in that direction.
Albus Towers desperately trying to throw a hand out of the flowers. Like,
you basically like get your head and hands up above the flower line, and they're just like, I mean, they're basically just like,
You're killing me.
What the fuck is this?
Hey, Ferris, Oblique. You probably don't remember. We were in that tavern that one time. Hey, do you know what the hell is going on here? There's a big plume of smoke. That's my familiar.
Okay, hang on. Ferris will come over and Gakuri will come with her, but she'll have her greatsword pulled at this point.
I could roll deception, which is +5 skill for me, charisma, just to make myself seem extra.
Why? But you aren't lying.
No, I'm not. I am absolutely not. That's why.
No, you are lying if you're telling Ferris you met her in a tavern.
I am kind of, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna make you roll deception for it.
Okay.
So
That was
you
just a
did.
quick
Where is
thing I
where is
wanted.
everybody else? Because I'm pretty sure at this point you've heard Alvis Tavern shouting.
Oh, I would probably
Yeah.
be moving forward and
Yeah, slowly walking around
Cresting
the
the
side of the
hill.
hill. Yeah, or cresting it.
probably also waving and saying hello.
It would
Yeah, I
be
wouldn't
hard to
actually-
miss Montlarin.
I wouldn't actually approach further than that, given that I'm armored and riding a giant warhorse.
That's right. So
Excuse me.
Those guys over there, they're my friends. Do you know what happened here? God, it's so cool seeing you guys again.
They're looking at each other like, "Who the hell is that?"
yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Thank you.
Dude, you guys were
do a Doctor Who on
house
us?
of the party. You were like the best.
Ferris says, "Well, if you know me, then sorry. I guess you know me.
It was, you know what?
I don't. I'm afraid I don't.
You folks were probably so busy winning. Well, they were, and the whole games at Medoro, you probably didn't even really notice us much.
Well, that was just the first time.
Aren't we moving backwards through their story? Oh no, we're not.
No,
No, it's forward in time.
it's
Yeah,
forward.
it's
It's just in hunks of
Yeah.
time that we don't know how much time's gone by. So now we're going to have to figure out how much time has passed since the last time we saw them.
You all were so very close to that beauty. What was her name? Her Majesty, I think. After winning the games and everything.
Gokuri says, "All right. We don't have time for this, Ferris. What the hell are you all doing here? Who are you?"
Oh, you don't remember me. Seems awfully
No, I'd remember.
sad.
I am
I-
the world famous bard,
okay.
Ambergreen Lodvig. Tell me your story.
Oh, well, I'm Alvis. I'm Alvis Tavern Grondtassel. I'm a student, and these are my friends.
Hey, are you trying to burn that wagon there? I can put the fire out if not.
No, we're not. Gokuri says, but no point. Too late for that.
Oh, well, all right.
It's a wreck, and no, Ferris, we need to get moving. We need to find some kind of tracks or something. Are you friends with these people? She says. No, I've never met them, but I mean, they're not orcs, so maybe they came here to help.
Ferris, you were awfully drunk, but were you that drunk?
I'm sorry.
You shared a tender moment.
Well, let me. In that case, let me introduce.
Coming
myself
from a gnome,
again.
that's got to be interesting.
Can I cast about and look if there's any?
Can you cast
Yes.
what?
Can I cast about like just look around and see if there's any obvious trail leading away from there, that somebody would make?
Would you like to go directly to the cart while this conversation is happening?
Yeah, exactly. I've heard them mention this.
I'm acting as a big distraction.
Okay. You kind of branch off from the conversation and just scoot over to the cart and start looking around. Can you make a investigation check for me? Oh.
Yikes.
A lot of fire, a lot of dead elves. 5 of them, in fact. Five whole elves. They do have the 3-pronged talon insignia on all of their gear.
Oh.
But none of them we would recognize if they were part of the royal family because we have seen all of them.
They
They
are
are none
armored.
of the royal family.
They are armored as guards.
Okay.
All of them. And their weapons and stuff are still scattered about. A couple of them broken. Albus Taver, you are having a conversation with these people. So,
Damn, I can't Sherlock it.
yeah. Oh, Montlarin, the wagon, even while burning, is apparent that it was quite opulent.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Well, it seems like we've
I
caught
think if I
you
were to realize
unawares.
that, I would come down off that hill and ask them if there's missing royalty here or something. Was this a coup?
See, my friend has
Ferris
already done it
says,
for me. I was going to ask if we could help you.
she looks back at the other two, and
You just made such a good
She
impression.
just shrugs, and she's like, "Okay, well, maybe you can help."
I mean, I do owe you for that round you got me after I lost all my money.
You saved a lot of lives in Thesbridge. I think that's worthy of our help.
He speaks the truth.
Oh, were you at Thesbridge? Is that where we
were?
I suppose we did have. I did have a bit of a night after that.
Yeah, you did.
Well, all right then. Reintroductions in that case. Ferris, famous bard. Gakari and Nikta. Nikta waves and Gakari doesn't. Naya, what's your passive perception? Yours is the highest around, I think, right?
It's +7.
Yeah, okay. Something that just strikes you during this conversation is that Gakari's left horn spine is broken and scarred up. She's lost most of it, so it's kind of heavily chipped away.
Oh.
Which was not the case the last time you saw her.
Right.
So Ferris says, we think it was those orcs. The Princess Ceres was supposed to be on this cart. And
just the princess?
Well, she gestures at the dead guards.
What kind of orcs are we dealing with here? The
pirates.
Conquer the world,
you know?
and
They're the same kind of orcs that we saw at Thesbridge?
I mean, surely you've heard that of the short war that just finished. Yes?
We look at each other.
Oh, of course. I didn't realize,
Yes.
I suppose, that there were still so many active pirates around.
So we think some of the stragglers, I guess they thought it was safe to move the princess back now, but something must have happened.
This is a terrible place. It's the perfect place to ambush and get away freely. Would they?
Well, they
It doesn't even seem like this is a good spot for the guardian of the tower to be able to see.
Well, I mean, I think the plan, as I heard it, was send a pair of decoy carts, send the real cart, come through here because it's a holy land. I guess they thought it would be safer that way.
Oh, those fools. Where's the other cart that go on ahead?
Far East.
Far East.
They both set out from town separately, a couple days apart.
Were you sent to follow them or to investigate a disappearance?
Gakari says, we got brought on to follow up on the carts. We were a little bit late.
See.
We'd have been earlier, we probably could have killed them instead.
So you found them
Don't
like
blame
this.
yourself.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago.
That was the gist of what Keen picked up. I must apologize and be
and we
honest
can't
with you.
We don't see any tracks from 10 minutes ago?
Well, I mean, we found it 10 minutes ago. Who knows how long ago it actually happened? Few hours.
Anaya goes over and checks some of the wounds on the elves. Serb, are they still bleeding, or is the blood congealed?
At this point, can you make a medicine check? This is a pretty easy check, though. Okay, yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
You think they probably got ambushed sometime in the night. Maybe they were camping here.
Yes,
Is there any
it's been
evidence of a
been while.
campfire? Is there any evidence of where tents were set? The princess would not have just like thrown on a bedroll on the ground. They would have had a whole pavilion and all that stuff. Is there any evidence of that?
Based on the size of the cart, actually, you think maybe they had been using the cart as like a camp, basically.
Okay,
Makes
I can
sense.
see that because the cart's big enough.
Yeah,
So,
definitely
alright.
big enough to like sleep 3 or 4 people comfortably, and then a couple drivers who could probably trade off in shifts and stuff like that.
Okay, so why would the cart still be smoldering? I mean, is it burning or is it smoldering?
At this point, smoldering.
But it's causing a lot of black smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire can like.
I mean, is
bonfire,
that-
I think, can burn
What's
some
that
things.
from? Shellac or something? I mean, I remember
it is-
seeing their cart,
big
and it
wooden
was
cart.
very fancy and had a lot of fine detailing and paint.
Yeah, it is very very well treated and whatnot. So that could be why it's burning so thick.
Okay, so she relays her findings to the group at large.
Okay.
That basically this happened. It looks like it happened overnight. What time of day is it now?
Currently, you're probably at about 10 a.m.
All right, so it's at least a 10-hour lead, roughly. You know, a 10-hour, 8 to 10-hour lead on us. But I think if anybody here is a decent tracker, I'd be looking for tracks to see which way they went.
That would be me.
Go.
Yeah, and as you're like going to start this search, Irenaeus, Ferris is she comes up to you and she's like, "We've been looking, but I think the enchantment on this field. I mean, you've seen how the flowers just spring up right after you step on them, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it sort of overwrites, gets rid of any sort of tracks. But maybe you can see something I didn't.
Is it? I mean, I'm not looking for damage in the flowers. It would be just like
Scuff
shoving
marks
my
on the
head-
ground.
shoving my head underneath them and like looking for either footprints in the loam beneath or just kind of
Yeah.
depressed
Alright.
grass somewhere.
Let's see what do we usually do for that? Survival?
Ye- Probably.
That sounds good.
No whammies. That's not
Oh,
bad. It's not great, but I did roll a 4. And it turned
yeah,
out a 12.
yeah. A 12 is not going to do it for you. Like
Reroll
Ferris-
with your +4.
I'm gonna pop up Badath and have a look around and see if there's any group or evidence of groups within the area that I can kind of see through them.
Okay. So in that case, you're doing the same thing you usually do, where you get up on a pillar, basically, or I guess you can get up on this hill.
Yeah, probably just get up on the hill. It would be fine.
Okay. There you go.
Cool. And then, do I see any groups in the area, or evidence of groups that have been in the area?
You do not. One thing that you see is there are occasional like stone pillars, structures dotted here and there throughout the Flower Sea. Some of them are aligned with the hills. Some of them seem to stand alone in the middle of nowhere. There are enough of them that you, and they all look kind of similar, not in shape and size, but in terms of structure and age and wear and tear, basically. That it would be hard to identify any single one as notable. But there are these structures. Otherwise, it is flowers as far as you can see until you reach the tree line again.
Okay.
Wow. I mean, they're very pretty flowers. So that helps.
Yeah.
And the patterns are more or less the same, or lacking of a specific pattern in kind of all directions?
Correct.
Is there another hill or location that looks like someone would have gone to hide behind from here?
The hills are fairly frequent. From your vantage, you can't exactly see behind many of them from where you from your perspective. You would probably have to check individual locations to be sure.
Are they high enough that it looks like somebody could have like a little hideout behind one of them? Or a camp even?
You think if somebody put a full camp behind
not
one
a
of
full
these,
camp, just like a small one.
they're enough that if it was like a single tent or a couple of tents, they could probably get away with it. If it was anything more than that, you think you'd see it.
Well, I can't really see anything specific in the area. There's a few hills where if there was an ambush set up nearby, they, might be able to find a camp or evidence of them. But I don't really have anything I can confirm.
All right, so I'm going in a different direction.
One thing real quick.
Who would want to kidnap the princess and why?
I wanted to ask, is the book still completely blank right now?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Naya, to your question, Gakari says she's a princess. They're a band of pirates. Makes sense to me.
You suppose it's to be ransom? And if it is going to be ransom,
what sounds like Gakari is saying is it assuming that it's ransom.
That's probably the best case scenario.
Right. Well, if it's ransom, they'll come and find you. But if it's not,
I don't like the sound of waiting for them.
While they're talking, I'm gonna skulk around.
Okay. What are you doing while skulking?
I wanted to investigate around the cart to see if, there's anything I could glean other than, obviously, these guys were killed and attacked. Maybe
is that the one you just rolled there, that 23?
Yeah, maybe there was an obvious, area to which they rushed them, or...
Okay. You find a couple of these elves were killed with rather, one of the elves was killed with arrows. The rest of them were killed with swords or similar weapons. They are messily chopped and not quite dismembered, but quite thoroughly dead. And there is a large amount of blood, and you're able to find, or you notice that two of the elf guards, when they died, were clutching crossbows, and one of the elf guards has a spear whose tip has been torn off.
His spear tip was torn off?
Yeah.
At the haft?
Yeah, like sort of where it was secured. It came loose and broke off. It looks like the haft itself probably snapped.
Naturally, or
was snapped. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, okay. Like, this all seems to follow so far with, orcs or Orcus pirates. Not very well trained.
But you can't find the spearhead anywhere nearby.
Huh. That should mean there's a trail of blood somewhere leading. I mean, it's an entire fucking spearhead. Spearheads often do break off, inside of their targets. Some spears are even designed to do as such.
Right, and you think if that happened, if there's an orc running around with a spearhead in its armpit or something like that, this would be something you might be able to find. Maybe not tracks, but maybe blood, like you said.
Well, see here, all. Look at this. Don't you find this peculiar? There's no spearhead, and this spear is broken. Obviously, this person defended their princess bravely and stabbed their would-be pursuer. And, this should obviously have left a grievous wound. Perhaps one of the more inclined with nature and this messy of tracking within mud and guck would perhaps lead from this this peculiar clue I have found.
I really like that Albus puts on an accent when he's trying to sound smart.
I mean, doesn't everybody? He pushes his glasses up his nose.
That is a thing I'm going for. Yes.
Well, actually.
See here, look. What do you all think?
Paris,
look.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't notice that. That would have been cool, Montlaurent.
Right.
So she says, well then if we can find a blood trail or a weapon trail, then maybe we can see which way they went.
I can continue looking. Anybody else?
She picks up one of the crossbow bolts from like the satchel of one of the guards. She just turns it over and she's like, I guess maybe one of these.
Yeah. Which way were they aiming?
Hard to tell. But with this knowledge, you might be able to make a survival check with advantage, looking for these things in particular.
Whom has
you
the
want me
big?
help with that?
Whom has
It's me.
the big?
Anybody can do it.
You should do that
Okay.
with advantage. I pointed out
With advantage.
who-
If you pointed out some specific things to look for, either on the flowers or on the ground.
Yeah. I pointed out the super cool Sherlock Holmes missing.
Does a 21 work for you? The advantage really helped there. Thanks.
Oh, it did. Yes. Irenaeus, you pop up from your failed attempt to find anything in the underbrush, and Alvis Tavern's prattling on about his discovery, and you venture off in a direction. You take kind of a wider perimeter, and you kind of sift your way through the flowers. You notice one yellow flower, kind of far away from the other ones, splotched with bright red.
Oh.
And when you kind of like brush away the flowers and look beneath them, you do find a bloody crossbow bolt that is has sort of been snapped off, and it looks like even the head of the bolt is no longer attached.
Well then, I think this, and just holding this like broken crossbow bolt between her forefinger and middle finger, I think this answers our question of direction.
Right.
That is about 50 feet southeast of the cart.
Or at least a trail to start following somewhere. So southeast puts us going this way-ish.
Yeah.
Well, I think that gives you everything you need to find your missing princess, does it not?
Come on, gang. The trail is hot.
Nikta hops off her dragonborn shoulders and gets down below the flowers with you and says, all right, here, if we work together, we should be able to find something then, something more than that. So she will join you, and using her own skills and look for similar things in that direction. And what she's able to find is one more very similar crossbow bolt after a bit of blood spattered among the yellow and pink flowers. And she is her favorite enemy.
Who doesn't pick goblinoids?
It might be
Favorite
orcs
enemy?
at this
There
point.
you go.
I'm double checking. It looks like her favorite enemy is beasts, so never mind.
You gotta go with humanoids, because then you get two.
And then you get two. But you know, she's a monster hunter or something.
Lame. All right, turned off advantage. All is well.
Okay. So yeah, collectively, the 9 of you are able to follow a very sparse path southeast several miles.
Fuck yes. Hopefully the bastards have rested, giving us time to catch up with them.
That was almost transatlantic. Or mid-Atlantic.
And here we are. Oh, this tavern is still tiny.
But of course.
Oh
That's
boy,
right.
this page is laggy.
Yeah, it is.
I have no sight, so
Sorry, I'm working on it. It's taken a real long time to load your guys' tokens into it.
that's okay.
Roll20 has gotten worse, hasn't it?
It has, because more people are
Well,
using
we also
it.
have more people in this session.
There's also
And
just
so it's
more
gotta
people
load
using
more stuff.
Roll20.
More people using Roll20 shouldn't make my web page run slower.
You're right, but
After
given
it
all of the
loads.
issues we've had for this web page in the past, oh boy.
I can accept longer loading times, but once I get past that, it should be able to run a fucking dungeon, dude. Come on. I'm trying really hard to get all these tokens on here. Okay. Motlaren, do you want Bet Mounty or are you good?
No, it's fine. I'll leave him.
He can kick
Okay.
shit. But okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
man.
but
Couch
it's
the lance.
So you guys
Do you have a lance to couch?
come across one of these
not yet.
stone structures built into a rocky hill in the Flower Sea. As you get closer, I think Irenaeus and Nicta, you two would probably be in the front by a fair amount. And you see orcs. Gray-skinned, pastel-haired, as is the traditional style.
Water orcs.
Gray skin and pastel hair?
Orcs commonly dye their hair
Right.
very bright colors.
Nice.
God, I didn't know they were such weebs.
And they seem to be loitering around the entrance to some sort of structure built into the hill. You two are able to kind of keep a low profile among the flowers, such that you can see them and they can't see you. They have not noticed you, and at your leisure, you're able to kind of call forward the rest of the party, and the Dragonborn kind of hunch down and crawl under the flowers, and everybody else just sort of walks a little bit crouched over so that they aren't spotted.
What's the extent of disguise to health?
Disguise self can change your appearance entirely, but
your height only up to like 3 inches or 5 inches or something.
And if they put their hand through it, they'll go through.
So, all right, never mind then. I was like, I could make myself look exactly like these fuckers.
But you aren't as tall.
No, I would be a very short one of them.
You could say you're a half orc.
You get a foot. You get 1 foot taller and 1 foot shorter.
Half lork.
But do you also know Orcish? Because then
No.
Okay.
No, but I do know Undercommon, which is close enough.
I think Goblin would be more of a.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know if orcs speak Undercommon.
If they didn't speak Undercommon and you started, they'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I was being evilist, just assuming that all evil creatures speak that language.
Evilist.
Also, really what it is.
Nicta, from her perspective, like inside the flowers, sees you starting to cast a spell, Albus Taver, and she grabs your hand and shushes you, and she says, "Shh, what are you doing? Do you have a plan?"
I was gonna make myself into an orc and then waddle up to them and go inside.
That's.
Are you able to look like an orc somehow?
I know that spell. I actually have it ready. So, like, if I hear him saying this, I'll be like, "That will not work."
I describe the ancient spell. in great detail. And he says, "I don't."
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that'll work."
I'm a good performer as well, but
What do you mean? Then you and I could both go. Add credence. It's not liable that two random orcs.
we don't speak Orcish.
We're gnomes. They're huge. I mean, maybe Ferris could do it, but
Anybody speak Orcish in the group?
I'm checking actually. Nikta doesn't.
No, it's okay. I speak Undercommon, though. All evil races speak Undercommon. Take it on my authority.
No.
I don't think any of the
so.
none of the trio speaks Orcish. Just for your awareness.
Yeah, Amber Green and I go up. I start speaking Undercommon to them. Amber Green goes inside, checks to see if the princess is still alive. Then, while I'm making the distraction, the rest of you guys flank them from the sides.
It's a building.
I mean,
They're guarding an entrance.
how many of them are there?
No.
There really are inside.
Yeah, no, from here. Yeah, see, if I approach from here, then they have sides. These sides.
From here, they are outnumbered.
That side. This whole side.
From here.
So Alvis Faber and myself and Amber Green, make distraction here in Orc Face, and then you guys blast them from.
Well, if you're going to make a distraction, why even bother with the disguise? Wouldn't you simply?
Well, if we look like orcs, they're less likely to immediately attack us.
See, he has it. He understands.
This is my sphere.
Okay, but we're not the right stature to be orcs. I understand your plan, but
what are you talking about?
I'd sooner use a human or an elf for it.
No.
Too bad
You might be able to actually trick them.
I'll use prestidigitation to add the extra 2 feet to at least me.
It's not how that works.
That is not part of that spell.
No, I just create...
Dude, elevator shoes.
Yeah.
Create moon
fucking
shoes.
Elevator shoes for you.
Yeah.
Those are not the moon shoes are not a worthless trinket.
I was gonna say, if I push
lifts.
Yeah, exactly. Just lifts, right? I could put probably 1 foot on myself
Arnold
and be a short orc. So I could look like a young
himself, so that he looks taller as the Governator. I should be able to use prestidigitation to make 1 cubic foot of non-living material for 1 hour.
Wait, no. Doesn't it color or flavor 1 cubic foot?
No. I can do way more than that. What the fuck?
You're gonna have to get me that spell description.
This spell is a minor magical trick novice spellcasters use for practice. You can create one of the following magical effects within range. You can create an instantaneous harmless sensory effect, such as a shower of sparks, a puff of wind, a faint musical note. You can instantly light or snuff a candle, torch, or create a small bonfire. You may instantaneously clean or soil an object no larger than 1 cubic feet. You may chill or warm or flavor up to 1 cubic feet of non-living material for an hour. You can color a small mark or a symbol appear on an object or surface for 1 hour. You can create a non-magical trinket or an illusionary image that can fit in your hand that lasts until the end of your next turn. And you can cast at least 3 of these at the same time. I can fit lifts within my hands.
I do
Heels?
not. I don't think moon shoes are a. Also, you'd still only be 2 feet and then also maybe 3 inches.
I'm a short orc.
Sure.
And there are
Um,
2 of
I
them,
thought it.
which makes it way more likely that I am
Gakuri,
Well, I would
orc.
say we use disguise self to make ourselves look like children orcs, young
Ga-
orcs.
Gakuri,
Oh, even
Gakuri-
better. Let's do
Gakuri
it.
looks at Montlarin and she
Baby
says,
orcs. We're gonna do the baby orc plan, right?
Baby orc, do.
Damn it! I knew that's where you were going.
Oh God. You were saying.
she says, yeah, if they're looking for a negotiator, we can negotiate with them, and then I can negotiate with them.
I'd much rather just stab
Hex
them
or
till they're
sword.
dead. Yeah, that's a good plan.
If you get me close
Absolutely.
enough, I could charm person one of them.
I could disguise yourself.
These are domain spells. I can just do these.
Can I disguise another person that isn't me? Or is disguise self only work on me?
No, it's disguised.
It's disguise self, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
right. It's in the spell description. Just a small distraction. And at a distance, I won't look so small. Because things get smaller at a distance. Haven't you ever looked at a painting?
No.
Forced perspective.
Called the vanishing point.
Albus Saver looks at you incredulous, like, yeah, no. Yeah, see? Even the fucking druid knows about it.
You gotta get right up close to wall art.
I could just moonbeam one of them from here.
But then they would know where we are. I could create a bonfire
that's not
in
how
their face.
Moonbeam works.
There's 8 of us. 10
9.
of us.
There are 8 of us.
Yeah,
But those are fucking orcs.
I can certainly guiding
They
bolt
are
or something
outnumbered.
like that.
They're 8 feet taller than me.
Is Moonbeam a 10-foot cylinder?
It's 5.
I mean,
It's,
you can
it's
at least
very
get
it's
2 of
very
them.
it's very single target.
Yeah,
It's
I was
That's
thinking I could hit the one by that fallen pillar over there
10
and
foot
just see
diameter.
what they do.
not 10-foot radius.
So wait, they
I
wouldn't
think it's
see
a
if
5
we
foot diameter.
cast a spell at them?
5-foot radius, so it's 10-foot diameter.
Oh, I misinterpreted it. Okay, that was my mistake. Very good.
How do they not see you casting a spell at them?
Yeah, you would have to stand up. You would have to do the vocal and somatic things. So, I mean, if you want to cast a spell, we can roll initiative. But that will constitute rolling initiative, and they'll see you.
How stony is the rock wall? Like if I were to walk from my position all the way to out of their sight over to like here, do I get my superior awesome stone camouflage?
It would probably be good enough to like maybe 30, 40 feet away before it starts to get too obvious.
How about if I just wild shape into there?
You're just gonna let like some kind of giant spider inside of their
Yeah, exactly.
No. I was thinking more along the lines of a really tiny spider
Oh,
that nobody would even see, and I'll just go in and scout.
that's a great idea.
Now, I would like to note your tiny spider, I believe, is more like a tarantula. But
that's still stealthier than like my rat. My rat looks like a sliming ball of oil.
yeah.
That is a legitimate idea.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna
But
do
I'm
that,
still
I will
still
bless
down
in
for
a
baby
victory
orc.
for you.
Spider can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you could
So
in theory
I can just go up the side of the wall and nobody ever even see it.
yeah, unless they looked up and saw a big ass spider. crawling
Well-
above them. You could.
Well,
you could-
I'll give you this.
How can I tell how big it is?
I'll give you that.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, I'm just going off the one in the monster manual. It's like a monster that you can fight as player characters. So I have always seen that spider creature as like
The description is
tarantula
tiny.
size.
The description is tiny beast unaligned.
Yeah, cats are also tiny, so that's kind of like what we're looking at. Bats are tiny, sturges are tiny. Generally speaking, I mean, there's also like the swarm of tiny beasts that come out sometimes, and those are like scarab sized or bat sized or snake sized and that sort of thing. So there's a range here, but at the very least, I've always imagined the spider creature beast to be at minimum like palm sized.
Yeah, palm size is about what I figured.
Okay, yeah, like it's not huge, and like if you're stealthy about it, they probably wouldn't notice a palm sized spider creeping along the ceiling.
Right, and it adds +4 to stealth.
Yeah,
plus dark vision. I mean, the regular spider actually has more utility than the wolf spider because of the dark vision and the stealth. And
I mean, yeah, that's true. You're the kind of druid who uses all of your animals for like utility and stuff. So yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so that's my suggestion: is that I go climb that wall, climb in, climb on the ceiling, and go in and scout it. I can't talk when I'm shapeshifted, but if I'm gone, for 30, 40, 50 minutes, something like that, then I should be able to see what's going on inside and see what we're up against and report back.
Ferris has been chewing her fingernails this whole time and says, well, if one or if anybody else can get behind them, Naya, if you can get behind them, and then if we can attack them with spells from here as they're distracted by one or two or three of us running out as a decoy,
or baby orcs,
we might be able to strike them hard and fast enough that they would hardly know what hit them and wouldn't be able to raise an alarm.
All right, so we got a plan. Baby orc distraction, hit him with spells at a distance. Big and fast. Surprise. Ambush. Tactical genius.
I mean, it would certainly be distracting to see a orc child appear out of nowhere. So if you're okay with being a decoy, then
Hamburger, you and me.
I'm kind of a scary decoy. Which is to say, if they expect me to be a baby orc, I do kind of kick an ass face to face.
We got northwest over here, which means that anybody who's distracted would turn over that way, and the group where they're standing now could get them at a flank. We could try to approach them on here, which means that if they approach forward, then we could get something. The reason why I like one of the sides better is because
we want to tumble out of the underbrush like here. And the reason why is because then their back is to this thing here. They can't shelter against it. If we were over here, they could shelter behind it.